life shine. You gotta be working to get the woman and the wine. Keep the beat and get your hands in the air. Shuffle the beat cause it's an African affair. To Buffalo Park and our home at St. George's. We're bringing the silverware back on the gorgeous. That's the way of the warrior. That's the way of the warrior. That's the way of the warrior. That's the everyday warrior.
Down, coming out of PE town. Drink, find a shot. Never mind your liver, get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle. Have a Gino shot.
Gino's shot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle. Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Center Stage. Welcome to Gino's Spot, ladies and gentlemen. It is Tuesday, and that's every single Tuesday at 6:30. We got Gino's Spot. We interview various people around in our community, in our area. That is mostly the Eastern Cape. And we've tonight is a fantastic one because we have Trevor Villet coming on just a little bit later to tell you what his journey's been like. He's always been in automotive. He's always, well, I say automotive, actually it's sales. Also, we'll find out from him a little bit later. A couple of things that I need to tell you is, first of all, thank you to our sponsors, to Fitch and Leeds, and to Amobia as well, who's always been sponsoring our show for the last 3 years, since 4 years now, since 2020. And it's been an amazing ride, incredible. It's something that I would have never done before, and something that you wouldn't be watching now. Exactly, if it wasn't for the whole palaver that's happened over the last couple of years, and it's been a fantastic journey. We've met so many people, and you too can meet these people because we will have them every week, every single Tuesday at 6:30 on Gino's Spot, and we dig into the kind of people that are around you, people that you may not have known before, and you didn't know what they did or what they were like. You know, they may be horrible, they may be nice. We don't know. We'll find out. So thank you to Fitch and Leeds, and thank you to Amobia for our sponsorship. And also, I need to tell you about Center Stage, who the Center Stage gang are going to be doing a couple of shows coming up. The Volksfeest is the next big one for the ABBA. As you can see, ABBA show, insane show with it's a huge cast. I think sometimes more cost than it's an audience. You never know. and we've got a whole bunch of people on stage. Been a fantastic band, full band with all the harmonies, all done live. Everything is done live, and it's as close as damn it to ever that you'll ever get. I'll tell you what, we're going to be at the Volksfeest on the 29th of this month. So if you are at the Volksfeest, don't just walk past the main stage. Come and have a look, and come and have a bit of a dance and do some ABBA with us all the way from Sweden. And then just the day before that, my show, Artificial Unintelligence, which has been sold out for the last little while. Every single show we've done. So we're adding another show, and we're putting it on at the PE Bowling Club. There we go. That's the bowling club. And Dolores will be there as well. That's Dolores over there. Dolores is the bowls lady, and she's going to be there to do the new Artificial Unintelligence comedy show, and that's full of music, comedy, drums, up and everything. You know, I always say to people, you know, they say what you do so many things in your show. It's because when you live in Quebec or PE or NMB, whatever you want to call it, you have to do everything in your power, everything that you're capable of to try and make a little buck. So make sure that you come around, get yourself a table, get your workmates together, get your other mates together, get people that you haven't seen for a while. Let's have a get together. Come to the PE Bowling Club, fantastic venue. It's about, I think it holds about 200, 180, 200, and all round tables. And a fantastic venue. It's got that history. It's got that, I think it's the oldest bowling club in the Southern Hemisphere. Can you believe that? Well, I can, because it was probably started by the 1820 settlers. Anyway, we're going to be there on the 28th of June. 28th of June. Don't miss that. Book your tickets now, because they are already for sale and they're going fast. So get your tickets and come out for a nice evening out and get some food there. And there's good club prices on the booze. So make sure you get there 28th. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get straight into our show. Yes. Gary's just reminded me. You know, Keith Clark's always given us our punters gin that we've syped. Ons het vir baie jare hierdie gesyp, along with our fitching leads, you know, that we have all sorts of flavors of fitching leads, and we mix it with the gin. I'm just thinking about this. And we have got a new gin that has made a mark now, because Keith tells me that punters, he's now putting it aside, and they've got the last couple of bottles left in the bottle stores if you want to get the punters, because the punters was great. But Keith says he's retiring punters as we go along. We've got a new one called Oxygen. Look at that. Oxygen, like that. We're going to be trying this out and seeing how we go. This is our Eastern Cape vibes as well. If any of you know SP Ferreira, SP's daughters have got his daughters got together a bit of gin, and they're using the citrus, and they're using this spekboom. It's got spekboom in it, which is quite lekker. It's a little Eastern Cape potency vibes. So if you haven't checked it in the bottle stores, ask for this as well. It's called dioxygen oxygen. So with the gin, with the not with the E, with the I, but for a gin. And give it a try. Very nice gin. I'm having some with my fitching leads as well. So we'll be on to that. They use Mandarin Nachis, which is obviously SP Ferreira's from Potencies. His own, I think they own, I don't know what they call it. It's like the gene is owned by them. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. These farmers, they know what they're doing. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to head straight into our guest this week, Trevor Villet, and we're going to find out exactly what he's been doing. He's our life. Let's do this.
Welcome to the show. Now it's your time to shine. We're gonna have a lekker chat tonight. Another good time.
And we're in. Trevor Villet, welcome to the show.
Gino,
fantastic
to
have you on. I actually can't believe that you've managed to dodge me for so long, because we should have had you on ages ago. We're into our we're well into our third year. I think is it the fourth year yet? It's the fourth year. It's our fourth year. It's near into our fourth year already.
I was cheering you from the background.
I know.
It works well like that.
It does. It does.
Keep the spotlight off, I always say.
You reckon? you try and avoid it at all costs.
Yeah, sometimes.
No, but I know that. I mean, you obviously mates with Gary, and Gary speaks of you very. He speaks very highly of you. Trevor.
To your face.
I lied.
Yeah, you did.
But no, I know that you've been obviously Williams Hunt. That was when I got to know you back then already. But you've been in the motor trade for many years. I mean, where did that all start? What's the story there, Trevor?
Well, actually, the story is quite an interesting one.
Yeah.
Well, for me anyway.
Yeah.
I was actually there was a guy I was at school with. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I always enjoyed cars.
Okay.
I'm not sure that I still did. No, I do. But maybe not to the extent I did when I was young.
Right, yes.
And he actually phoned me one day and said, I'm leaving to go overseas, sell cars. And it was at the time at a General Motors franchise. And he said, would you like to take my place? I put your name forward. And I said, oh, let me try, And the rest is sort of history. And being in the industry for, 30 odd years now.
30 years, yeah. I'm going
Well,
to stick this mic a little bit closer to you.
Well,
so
you
I'm
can
actually
you
get
can see I look 70, but it's only because of the industry. It's not
No,
necessarily
it's
because I am.
obviously hard toil for,
Big time.
takes its toll eventually,
Indeed.
No, so I mean, obviously, where did you start with? Who did you start with there? Was that
So at the time,
was
I
that GM?
started with Key Delta.
Key
so
Delta?
Key
I remember
Delta.
that
You
name.
remember Key?
I do.
Yeah, so they basically were a Natal outfit that decided to open in PE, and I think part of the reason for that was the factory was here, as you know, and really it was a case of they thought they'd get their bit, and there were some pretty good times. The economy was a little bit more buoyant, and
Delta, because that was after then the first sort of Delta took over when GM pulled out for the
just on the brink of that at the time.
Was that 1980? No, 1990.
No, that would have been. Well, I started there in. Jeepers, it was early 90s.
Early 90s.
Early 90s.
Yeah,
so you're right. Yeah, about sort of 92ish.
Okay.
So they obviously wanted to get some of the market and thought it'd be quite useful to be close to the doorstep of the factory.
Yes.
And that worked out, I think, pretty well for a while. One of the advantages at the time, of course, that with sanctions and the likes, there were literally only 4 manufacturers. If you consider that just in PE alone, almost every manufacturer in the world is literally selling cars
represented,
and is represented.
Yeah.
So those are probably in some ways easier times, in other ways more difficult times, because of course the interest rate was sky high.
Yes.
I remember people buying cars at 26% interest rate.
How crazy was that?
No, it was ridiculous because I mean naturally money at the same value sort of by and large is what it does now. And the costing to purchase a car on hire purchase was insane. I mean, you're paying an enormous amount of interest.
It is
lest we ever knew where that interest really went. But
So
anyway, I was with Key for 5 years. I had a short break into a different environment. I missed the mud industry too much. And then I started,
come on, tell me there's a story in there. Where did you go?
Well, actually, to tell you the truth, I went to a company called Gosco, who sell and rent industrial products. They've actually gotten very, very big. Long after I left.
After you left,
they
exploded after you left.
So, well, I didn't have that much time to influence situations. So I was there for a short period. In fact, the guy that employed me was a customer. I still remember he bought an Astra Turbo. So he wasn't a young man. But that of course, you may or may not remember, was an animal of a car. Was
that one of the Astra version of the what do they call that T car that used to?
It was the T. It was it was the Astra Turbo.
Yes.
It was the first of the high pressure turbo vehicles, but
was it 2 liter, the Super Boss?
It was a 2 liter. No, it was post the Super.
Post Super
just
Boss.
Post. The thing is, it was an insanely, quite frankly, unsafe car. Because
was that the Irmscher?
No,
was that not the Irmscher?
No, Irmscher was just a derivative of it. It was just a sort of a speed kit and a racing. But the thing is, it was a crazy motor car. Point is, he managed to keep it on the road, unlike many others.
Yes.
And we just had a very good relationship, and I thought, well, let me try something different. As I said, 3 months, and I don't know why, but for my sins, I had to go back. I was then made an offer by Williams Hunt, and I've been there ever since.
Because Williams Hunt then must have taken over Key Delta.
Well, eventually, to tell you the truth, we bought out Key at the time, the building, and put similar vehicles into there. And then, of course, that at the time we had the Suzuki franchise, Isuzu, and Opel.
Where were the offices back then?
all in Main Street.
Was it all in
Well,
Main Street?
Govan-Becky now,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
Main Street,
yeah,
all of it was
yeah.
in Main Street. So
It was just car place after car place.
well, that was it. I mean, as you know, that's
Yeah.
moved up now by and
Yeah.
large. There's still a couple of dealerships there, but that's
Yeah.
by and large, it's moved up to
Moffat. William Moffat.
And my stay with Williams Hunt has been a very long one up
Yeah.
until a year and a bit ago.
Yes.
So 26
years.
odd years. Yeah.
26 years.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a lot of loyal service. Eh?
Yes.
that's good.
Yeah. Hopefully they feel the same way.
Good.
So I haven't left. The
group.
holding company, the group, which
Okay.
is CFAO
Okay.
Mobility. They call themselves.
Mhm.
Massive company.
Yeah.
Represents many brands in South Africa,
Oh,
in
it's
Africa.
confusing because
It
you
is,
say,
it is.
What's Stellantis?
Okay, it is
whatever.
confusing, and I suppose it could be all night if I
Yeah.
go through. But essentially, what happened to some of the brands? I mean, Stellantis took over worldwide a number
Okay.
of brands. Dare I say, some of them were ailing brands at the
Okay.
time.
Yeah.
And they formed one of the biggest manufacturer retailers in the world
Okay.
because I don't know the
Yeah.
brands essentially that Stellantis have are now
Yeah.
Opel, Fiat, Chrysler, Peugeot, Citroen.
Alpha.
So
would be-
Alpha, yeah. So
Jeep.
obviously Jeep, which
Yeah.
is essentially Chrysler back then,
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
So yeah, they look after those brands. But
Okay.
you know, we've all sort of had a bit of a dabble in some of them at some
Yeah.
point. But you know, the core of what I've been in is essentially Isuzu's side,
Okay.
and then the Chev brand
Yes,
was very
yes,
big at one
Chef,
point.
Yes, huge.
But you know, we were chatting earlier. In fact,
Yeah.
the Chev issues, I don't actually think they knew what they wanted to be because they
Yeah.
were in South Africa, they were out of South Africa.
Yeah.
There was a lot of heartache attached to that.
Yeah.
And the last time they left, they actually took 60% of our business,
Yeah.
which was quite a hit. So we've
Yeah.
had some tough
course.
times
For Chev, I mean, yeah,
Mm.
that is hectic.
and a good product. You know, nothing
Yeah,
wrong with the
yeah,
product. It's
sure.
just that they couldn't make up their minds in which countries they wanted to represent themselves. They decided they
Yeah.
wanted only left-hand drive after that.
Yeah.
And they pulled out, and that obviously kicked us
Yeah.
all into touch.
Yes.
And it could be due to costs of research and development
Yeah.
and so on.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, just over a year ago, our business, our holding company, is sort of on the acquisition trail
Yeah.
and bought BMW, Nelson Mandela Bay, from
Okay.
Des Suter, who
Yes.
is the owner. And
Okay.
that's just part of a bigger plan.
Okay.
And essentially, yeah.
So Des is retired now. Then.
He's a happily retired man, and I must tell you that Des is a wonderful chap.
Yeah.
So every now and then, and he knows, you know, I enjoy fishing, but every
Mm.
now and then he'll send me a picture of this magnificently large fish that he caught
Oh, really?
on light tackle. And it's really an awesome fish. And the picture in the background, it's some exotic place that he went fishing. And underneath that, he says, "Thank you, CFAO." You know? So he's living the life, and
Lovely.
I must say, you know, he was very well respected in the BMW side because obviously he was
Yeah.
there a long time, successful business.
No, I've got no qualms when somebody's been there for such a long period of time and he's put his heart and soul in it for years. You know,
Mm.
it's like it's really good to.
No, he needed to
have-
retire
Yeah.
because, you know, at some point you've got to
Yeah.
use that money. you
Yes,
know?
yes. and get into some.
Yeah, no, he's,
something that you really
I think
wanna do.
he's living. I mean, they say his best life these
Yeah.
days. You know, so he's doing very well. He still pops in from time to time.
Okay.
So yeah,
And so now it's a BMW brand. The BMW.
yeah,
thing.
something
They've been
completely-
sort of bubbling under for a long time. BMW. For
You know, I wouldn't-
ENP. I mean, talking about.
Yeah, I wouldn't quite put it like that, and I'll tell you why. You know, I'm still very much learning about the brand. I mean,
Yeah.
some of the guys at the dealership have been there for many years, but from what I've seen and the statistics, that BMW is still the biggest selling premium brand in South Africa by a long way, and in fact worldwide.
Yeah.
So if you take the two main competitors, BMW outsells both of them added together,
Oh, really?
both locally and overseas.
Okay.
So the product is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not just saying that. It really is a driver's vehicle. and they seem to just be able to stay on point when it comes to modern features and offerings and
I suppose it's
engines.
Germans, you know, a bunch of that's just everything.
It is the
just
case.
so-
It is the case, but it's quite something to drive.
How does it differ? How does the whole brand differ from? I mean, you know, motor brands are also people tend to love a certain brand their whole lives. You know, they'll be this kind of
true.
person.
Yeah.
You know, how would you say that the two brands, like from the Williams Hunt side, the Opel and the Chev to the BMs, or is there any competition there as well?
No,
Would it have
but-
been Cadillac, I suppose?
No, Cadillac was stillborn basically in South
Yeah.
Africa.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, much like Saab,
yeah, Saab
which
as well.
was also a franchise that we
Great
had.
cars as well, but yeah, just
Fantastic, but
not
it
popular
was
enough.
never going to be a decent competitor
Yeah.
to the mainline guys. But to answer your question, it was a thing that I gave a lot of thought to, because moving after 26 years, you kind of become a bit staid in
Yes.
ways, you know.
Yeah, you know that brand.
Well, and I'm happy to tell you, I'm still loyal to the brand. I mean, the actual fact, I bought one the other day
How is it?
for the company.
Yeah, all
we
right.
needed a delivery vehicle, and I mean that's what I know, you know, and I'm most
Yes.
comfortable with that. So
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
got an Isuzu delivery vehicle
Okay,
for
yes.
parts.
Well, I mean the buckies. Yeah,
But it
for
was the
sure.
weirdest feeling actually buying a product you've been selling
Yes.
or smoking forever. You know?
Try to bet them down with the price.
Oh, I did, trust me, because I knew what the price should be. You know,
Yes, damn it.
so I know they didn't make a fortune out of me, but no, and it's all in one company. So,
Okay.
yeah, the difference is cardinal. It's not
Yeah.
the same. It's not the same target markets or anything
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But, and this is what I gave a lot of thought to at the time. A lot of our customers who purchase Isuzu Bakkies for their businesses and so on, a lot of them may drive a double cab, may not, but a lot of them have their luxury car. And
Yeah.
it just so happened that a lot of those luxury cars were BMWs. So it actually was quite a synergistical sort of setup.
Okay.
I think it worked
So
just
it
fine.
worked out okay.
The difference is the bread and butter business of a Bakkie market like Isuzu is your volume, your workhorse, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Naturally, there's the leisure side, which
Yeah.
covers the double cabs and that, and then it becomes more spoilt for choice and more personalized choice.
The luxury market is, I suppose, is where BMW sort of fits more comfortably.
Excuse me. Yeah, no, but that is the case.
Mm.
But it's not a Bakkie.
Yeah,
You have to want to drive
Yes.
a luxury premium brand vehicle, and you don't want to drive a Bakkie. So it depends. Some of our customers have double cabs as well as, for argument's sake, an X5 or an X6 or something like that.
Yes. The SUVs.
Yeah. So it's really horses for courses, but
Yeah.
the two don't clash.
Yeah.
In fact, they probably complement each other.
Yeah, and because these the big, some of these big, like we're talking about Stellantis or one of those guys. I mean, they've got within their own company, they've got competitors. It seems so strange for
Well, this is the way things are going.
Yeah.
So multiple branding
yeah.
at certain sites is the way things are going.
Mm.
Some of the manufacturers are for it, some are against. And the only time they'll be against it is if they feel that there's a direct competition to their brand. The manufacturer still has a lot of say in what happens on a dealership level.
Okay, they do as well. Hey, yeah.
But they also understand that in order to survive in this economy, you have to multi-brand.
Yeah. Let's have a quick look at some of these comments coming in. I see the flipping million comments coming in straight through here. Let's see. Vanessa Mayberg says, hello. They're talking to each other in the comments here. I see Caroline Morgan. How's it, Caroline? It's nice to see you as well. Ingrid Krief. She's here most Tuesdays, and I'm very thankful for that, Ingrid. I love you. I love the Sergeant Pepper shirt. Thank you very much. I didn't even mention that. I've got my Sergeant Peppers tonight. I thought I'd go with that. I think it says Mike inside. So this is the bass player's one.
Well, it fits.
Rudesh Pillay says, "Goeie Trev." Who's Rudesh?
Yeah,
Goeie.
he's one of our staff members.
Staff members
BMW.
there. Have you got a big staff there?
Yeah, 50.
50.
Mm.
That's big.
It's enough. Yes.
Yeah, that is. That's a lot. There you go. Hey, Mr. Bennett. It says Carol Jean Ferrie. Kelly Jean's online as well. Lovely to see you too, Kelly. And who's that? Morgan. Is that your daughter?
Daughter, yeah.
Your daughter. Nice. How many kids you got?
Two.
Mm. 2 kids. Okay. And how old are they now?
So 22 and 18.
22 and 18. Oh,
The expensive time of their lives. My life, sorry.
Yes, exactly. It's varsity time. It's going to be hectic. Oh, my word.
So I see Rion Rue wants to know if it's 10-year-old in my hand.
Yes, absolutely.
Colleague of mine
do
from
really-
Joburg.
I'm trying to see where the brand
No, I think
is.
Gary hid it somewhere.
No, Granny-
He's obviously
Granny.
hiding it from me. I mean, I'm only here for the free booze anyway, you know.
We got some KWV, especially for Trev. There we go. It is a KWV, absolutely. Oh, yeah, right.
Good guess.
Yeah, good guess. Anna Skip is watching from Portugal. Hey, Whoppa. How's it? And then, is it Dylan?
Dylan
Jordan.
Also one of my
Let's
work
go.
colleagues.
Was the work colleagues there as well? Jeff Applewhite from just up the road. How's it, Jeff? When's the next wine tasting, Jeff? And Hayden Spiss. Oh, wow, Hayden Spiss. You know what, Hayden? Were you the Hayden at Clarendon Park as well? He says, looking better. I remember Hayden Spiss at Clarendon Park.
Yeah, he's one of or in fact, he's an opponent of mine in racquetball. Yeah.
Oh, racquetball.
Yeah. And I'm sure he's looking for a revenge game.
It's so excellent. Excellent. No, Hayden, I remember Hayden at, and I'm going to find out. Please tell us in the comments there whether it's the same Hayden Spiss as I know. Lutrigard. There we go. He's got a dorp named after him as well. Is it Low?
Not Lou.
Good to see Jan Botha saying, how does it keep selling? Yo?
It's time we sold him
Always.
something new, actually.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Oh, really? Duncan Young, question for Trevor. Now that you've moved to BMW, can you finally agree that the pens of a much better quality than the ones you handed me when you first met? Tell us that story. What's that?
Yeah, this is typical Duncan. You know,
Yes.
he worked with us for quite a while. He went to greener pastures in the UK, and this is a typical Duncan question because essentially he talks about the pens, but I think I must have stolen at least 3 or 4 BMW key USBs from him, which I still have somewhere. Although they're a little outdated now because I don't have the same memory capacity.
Yes.
But yeah, he always gave me a hard time about the pens that we had because they were cheapies.
I nearly read penis instead of pens. I see
That's concerning. No more for you, eh?
Ridesh says it looks like he's prospecting. Well, he's got the badge. He's got the badges on there.
Yeah, he's
Okay,
quite right.
Absolutely. Brendan Kelly. Now, there's a motor mouth. Brendan Kelly is our local commentator for and interested party for anything for cars and petrol heads. He's our man. He does all the commentating for the speedway stuff and also,
yes, okay.
he was also in powerboating and all sorts. Vanessa Marburg, we are watching. Excellent, Vanessa. Thank you. And then Kama. Is it Kama Jakala? Kama Jakala. How's it, Mr. Trevor? He's there watching. Marvin Pansale too.
Cape Town.
Good. Oh, Cape Town. Hey, how's it in Cape Town? Lekker. Bartle, I think Trevor.
Oh,
Trevor's do a duet. Gino on the drums and
He
Trevor.
obviously hasn't heard my voice lately.
Trevor's got a great voice. I didn't know that about you, Trevor.
No, you didn't because I don't.
And I've known you for a little while now.
No, I'll stick to my day job.
You've
I
been
think,
hiding that a bit.
No. I've been hiding nothing.
Leanne Seba, how's it, Leanne? And I see she's got a glass of wine there as well.
Yeah. I owe her a glass.
Yes.
Actually. Yeah.
Oh, yes, it is Hayden. She was Hayden. I remember. Yeah, that's a blast from the past.
Oh,
man.
there we go.
I remember
All the
Hayden.
PE citizens.
I can't remember if it was the same age as me. It was in Matric 88. It was I was there from 77 to 83. John
I'm
DeBeer.
glad to see there's somebody older than me. Eh?
Yeah. Oh, lies. Lies. I know.
This is not lies.
Cheltenham in the UK. Is that Duncan? Is that where Duncan is now?
Yeah.
He was nice. Werner Botha says, "Ooh, excellent." And Kelly Evans, Neil says, Seahawk. What's Seahawk? What's that? Boat.
So yeah, it is actually a boat, but her husband and I have done a couple of tuna classics together.
Oh.
And
Oh,
you know,
nice.
it gets to be a long day out there. In fact, 3 days when like the
Yes.
last tuna classic where not much happened.
Yes.
And eventually you start talking a bit of crap. And for some reason, one of the boats, Seahawk, and I mean, you communicating the
Yeah.
whole time out
Yeah.
there. And for some unknown reason, we now greet each other as Seahawk.
Okay, Seahawk.
You got to be there to understand it, but
Yeah,
it's-
no, I get it.
It is funny if you sort of get into
I get it. I get it. Totally. Dylan says, Jerry is here on prospecting duties.
Yeah. That's just because I shove it into their face all the time.
Excellent. Excellent. More productive, most productive tech. What's that? I don't know. Karen Kutzer, thank you. Brian Perez says, "How's it, Trevor?" And there we Stapes is in.
Yeah.
Of course, Spa sponsored us here at the show for over 3 years. I think it was. So we are heavily indebted to Spa during the time that they, obviously with Stapes as well, when things were looking bleak for the entertainment industry, they jumped behind us, and we're forever thankful. Stapes, thank you. Greetings from a cold Middleburg. Is that where you are? To teach my old people some racquetball lessons.
He's getting around, eh?
Yes, sir. Middleburg. Is that next to Noport? That Middleburg you're talking about? Excellent, man. And then Trev, tell us more about the black muscle beamer you're driving. What's a black muscle beamer? Is that the new one?
Yeah, so I think he's referring to the new i5 M60.
Mm-hmm.
So there are very few times when one really is these days blown away by a car. I mean, they all have nice features and what have you, but this car has got to be one of the most spectacular. So all electric,
Yeah. Okay.
4-wheel drive
Wow.
sedan, so 5 Series.
Sure.
I haven't got it yet.
All-wheel
tonight.
drive.
All-wheel
Jeez,
drive.
like, yeah.
And because of the electric car, I don't know if you've driven one before, but all your torque is available immediately. So you don't have to.
There's no gears, hey?
No gears. You don't have to rev it up to get.
Yeah. Okay.
And quite honestly, your 0 to 200 is actually, it's difficult to describe. It's so phenomenal. In fact,
200.
it just doesn't stop. It's like you hang on for dear life and go. It really is a deeply satisfying car to drive in any respect. In fact, some present company has also been in the car, and he was very nervous.
There you
may
go.
I just say, but
And then he said he nearly killed you. Is that the one? Jeez, like, okay. So it's a 0 to 200, but it leaves your naught
right to the back end of the
your
seat.
naught knipes the whole way. I'm quite sure.
That's the exact vehicle over there. But it's honestly, if of the cars I've driven in the last, let's call it 10 years, it's probably the most exhilarating car I've driven.
Yeah.
And I drive a lot of cars. It's a lot quicker than most
the electric
Porsches
thing.
and things. It's just unbelievable.
I've had a go in our thingies. What's the Tesla? Greg has got the Tesla, and I tell you what, that also just that electric feeling of the electric immediate power. That must be insane.
It is exactly that. And most electric cars are actually, you don't think so at the time.
Yeah.
But most electric cars are actually really satisfying to drive because you literally have all that torque immediately available.
Yeah.
But
You don't miss the sound.
Well, there's a thing called BMW iconic sounds.
Oh, really?
And believe me, as many people have said, it sounds like a spaceship.
Is it okay?
When you really boot it, No,
okay.
it's quite something. Some people just don't want to feel that enormous amount of inertia, which I don't understand.
Yeah.
Never will.
Yes.
But if you're a real petrol head, you kind of think, "Oh, here's the bartender." Awesome.
Yeah, bartender's
Thank you,
in. There you go.
it's just something you can't describe unless you've actually done it. And as somebody who really likes the V8 powers and things like
Yeah.
that, which we still have,
Yes.
it's something I never thought I'd actually enjoy driving, but
Yeah.
it really, once you've driven it,
Yeah.
it's hard not to.
Yeah.
You start making excuses as to why an electric car is a good future for us. You know?
Yeah. And it must be, I don't know. I've never actually ridden. Of course, I'm with Ford, so I'm very biased. But I'll have to wait till they
you've
get
got to
there.
like something. You know? May as well be that.
And but you know, it's like the they say with the brands, you have these guys, and I must admit, Trev, that I've noticed a lot more BMWs on the road since you've been there. I don't know if it's just a fluke or whatever the story is, but I've noticed because there's a patch
Maybe you
where-
just think of me more often. I don't know.
maybe
you
it's
know?
true. I don't know, but I've seen a lot of BMWs riding around, and they're looking good. You know?
No, we're doing the numbers that we need to. BMW Germany are very strong on us getting to the right numbers for South Africa. They believe in the product and they believe it should sell for the right reasons, I suppose. So, you know, they actually have pretty good marketing processes and their financial, sound like I'm punting a bit. It's actually something I was very interested to see, because their financial solutions and their financial offerings.
Yeah.
So it's not just the car, it's the financial offering that's tailor-made and really is tailor-made. And it makes a heck of a big difference, because, you know, in a lot of expensive cars, premium brand cars, they're pricey. I mean, our most expensive car is 3.5 million, which is the
I'll put it on my credit card.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. So, you know, you have to tailor make a financial solution so that the customer doesn't lose an enormous amount of money in depreciation, because that's the biggest risk.
Yeah.
And we do have the right type of tailor-made finance to curb that type of thing.
Become a science, this finance story, you know, with everything. Everything becomes a science. Anything in retail becomes this like scientific way of doing things, you know.
Yeah, you know, I think over the years, again, because the amount of vehicles available to purchase and the amount of brands, they've started to think out of the box, which I suppose is where the science comes in.
Yeah.
So you're quite right.
They work it out so perfectly. Everything's like, okay, well, then after a year you do this, and after a year you do that, and then you swap it around, or you do, you know, it's like, you don't lose too much. And
there is a lot of that, but I think maybe with the right alliance, we'll have an interest rate drop. I mean, that'll help a hell of a lot.
It would be lovely. And who knows what's going to happen. Yeah, you know, there's the 1 minute's going one way, the next minute's going the other way.
There's always going to be that way for a while.
We just hope that sanity reigns and we'll come somewhere down the middle, you know, which is what we need.
Sanity is a tough one.
But now you're an interesting fellow now, Trevor, because you've not only this whole motor vehicle thing and this marketing story, but you've got a lot of things that you're into.
Too many.
We bought a boat, the two of us, Gary and I bought a bloody boat. When I say bought,
So you were donated a boat.
We schmuckled the boat.
I'm surprised I haven't been called on to give my opinion yet.
Well, we'll show you. It's outside right over here.
Okay.
I've had to pump the pontoons again, Gary.
I did warn Gary about pontoon boats. Yes.
No, we just pumped them out. It's got a little pump there. It's fine. It's been a couple of days. Apparently, it's quite normal for the pontoons to go down after about a week or so. It's fine.
It depends, I suppose.
You know, and our boat's lovely. But now you have been you've had a few boats in your lifetime.
Yeah, I must be honest. I'm not proud to admit this, but I stopped counting after like 15 or 16.
Yes.
But having said that, I mean, I did at one point sort of buy and sell and that sort of thing too.
So you moved
largely by accident.
Okay.
Because I just decided I didn't want it. I want something else.
Yes. Okay.
But I never really lost money.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got into a very, very difficult, bad sort of habit, and that is I had a few built.
Oh,
which
is actually tailor.
I actually had some made,
custom built boats.
But well, you know, all boats that are built are custom built. So yeah, no, that was possibly, but it is a little bit of a problem for me. I really enjoy boats.
Okay, so a little bit of it's like a gambling. Thing.
Yeah, you could say so. But you know, there is a saying. You know what boat stands for?
No, what?
Bring on another 10,000.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it just costs and costs, and you'll see even with your pontoon.
Here we go.
boat,
There's a boat. Is that one of yours?
okay, that's a picture of my my ski boat, so my river
ski
boat.
boat. Okay, river boat.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that looks lovely. Yes.
It is. I just don't use it often enough because I'm more into using the deep sea boat. you know.
Okay.
So that one I just don't have the heart to get rid of it.
Oh, you still got that. That is one of your current boats.
it is one of the current of two. Yes.
Okay.
One of two.
Is that the other one?
That's the deep sea.
Is that deep sea one?
Yeah.
It looks quite short to be deep.
I think that picture gives you an
Oh.
idea. It's short, but it's 6.7 meters, so it's not that tiny. No.
Okay. Angelfish, eh? Oh, that looks a bit longer. That one.
Yeah, that's a more elongated picture.
Oh, there we go. That looks nice. Yes. Okay. Any stories about the baby? I see. When you click on something on Facebook and it gives you more and more of the same thing, they're giving me boat accidents. have you ever upturned a boat?
I must say, I haven't even had that many close shaves.
Really? Okay.
But the thing about it is, I haven't been deep sea fishing for that long.
Yeah.
I've basically seconded myself to the river since a very young age. But
yeah.
The deep sea bug bit me once when a friend of mine, in fact, an ex-colleague, invited me out, and we went past the islands, past St. Croix. And literally we had little river fishing rods and what have you, and I put a nice big bait on, and I hooked into something that I thought was definitely a shark because it was a hell of a fight.
Yeah.
Again, as I say, first time I've been out deep sea. As it comes up, now, I mean, we're talking about the shark and it must just go away. As it comes up, it's this massive 37-kilo cob.
Wow.
Needless to say, we fell over ourselves on that boat. That's the one.
Jeez.
Try to get it out with a net. That didn't work. Eventually,
how do you pull it with a gaff or something?
Well, eventually, I think it was a gaff, but the adrenaline is pumping to such an extent that you actually don't know what you're going to do next.
Yeah, same size as you.
Well, at the time you think, gee, well, this is 90 kilos.
But it's just all muscle.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. So it was really, that's what hooked me. And then eventually I took out sort of a river boat that had a wet deck, so it was registered to go to sea.
Okay.
And started going out on that.
What's a wet deck mean?
So the deck needs to be able to flood and drain through scuppers.
Holes at the back.
It's holes at the back.
Yes.
So it needs to be able to do that, and that's just part and parcel of many different things it must do. But it was a smallish boat. It was a V boat. It wasn't designed for the sea. So if you went out in anything less than perfect weather, it was not ideal. Nevertheless, we went out close to, I think it was the Point, Recife Point, and it was a bit rough.
Yeah.
In fact, by today's standards, what I know now, I don't even know if it was that rough, but it seemed a bit rough.
Yeah.
And as I say, quite a novice at the time.
Yeah.
And caught some beautiful gilbeck.
Yeah.
Probably due to the swell, because they like the swell.
Yeah.
And suddenly we started taking some water over the back. And we went home quite quickly after.
Okay.
So luckily I didn't do anything stupid, but that was sort of any time when it was. I mean, obviously if you go really far out, things can get a bit hairy and water comes over the top. But you just got to know when to turn and call it a day. That's really so.
You've been caught in bad weather.
I was caught in bad weather once. There's actually a friend of mine who kind of introduced me to the committee at the Deep Sea Club. Yeah, and we went out to the dreaded island, Bird Island.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of speculation about what happened.
Yes,
it's a very. I don't know if you've ever.
There's a book out. And
I don't know if you've ever actually seen Bird Island from the sea.
I have. I think
very grey-looking place.
Yeah,
it's
with
kind
the
of
houses things on it.
Yeah, but it's terribly grey. It almost looks like it's a bit of a sinister spot.
Yes, it does. It does.
And I think that whole story sort of sealed it for me. Anyway, so we went out there and doing a bit of fishing, what have you. We went a little further towards sort of Kent and Port Alfred area, and suddenly the weather came up, and we couldn't get back.
Wow!
So
Well, Kenton Port, that sounds very far.
it was a long way out there. Anyway, the point is, the weather came up, southwest wind.
Yeah.
There was just no way unless we'd gone at a snail's pace, would have run out of fuel. So you got to calculate all these things. Long story
Yes.
short, we shot into Port Alfred, so the Cowie River.
Yes.
Um,
Through there. It's
but
quite
the water
rough.
was quite big.
Yeah.
And as the swell came down and we were entering, I don't know how we got it wrong.
Oh.
I wasn't skippering, so I can't
Yeah.
blame myself.
Yes.
But suddenly we just saw rocks in front of us.
Ooh.
Thankfully, managed to hit the port side quickly, went in, and it was actually a very nice day out. But
Okay.
it did mean that we had to go and summons for the trailer from PE to Port Alfred and then back
yes,
there.
of course.
So it was quite a process.
Okay.
So yeah, nothing.
Yeah, that's
Nothing
tough
harsh,
to
but-
actually go that far that you need to go into a different port. Oh, my word.
It was a first for me. Yes.
All right, so I've got Gary's put together. I mean, Gary knows you well. I think you guys have been friends for Lord knows how long. He says here, can you describe any favorite or memorable fishing outings and what made them special?
I think any memorable fishing outing really comes with fish. So
you need to have
the
a few
memorable ones are probably good weather.
Yeah.
Because, or in fact, I suppose bad weather was not a great memory because sometimes the weather is really poorly and it's not fun to bounce around like that. But in general, had good fortunes where you catch a lot of hillbeck and you basically take you get to your limit very quickly because naturally there are limits, drag limits.
Yeah.
Had some fantastic times with catching yellowtail, which is still one of the premium fighting fish, especially when you go slightly lighter tackle. And then, of course, the really deep south stuff, so like tuna and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
When catching tuna can be pretty exhilarating, and they
Eating tuna can be exhilarating as well.
well, that's another thing. I mean, Gary's been very good at making sure that he's aware of when we go for tuna. I normally just send him, the offcuts and that.
Werner says, "My good eyes saved us in the Cowie."
So to
Trevor was blaming you already, saying
to tell you the truth, it was actually Werner that stopped it from hitting the rocks. I did not know he was going to be tuning in here, and obviously he saw an opportunity and took it.
Yes, I see that. He had sharp eyes.
Yeah.
It's not the first time he's had sharp eyes.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
No,
Okay.
it was.
So Pedsac, you've been involved there for a long time as well.
Yeah. I was invited to the committee as a PR at one point from a previous chairman. And I saw it as something, as long as I could give something and then I could add value, that was always my big thing.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. It was interesting, and of course I learned a lot from the guys who'd been doing deep sea fishing for many years.
Okay.
And there are a lot of very interesting characters.
Yeah, for sure.
That do the deep sea fishing thing. By and large, though, the guys that go out have to have fair-sized pockets because it's an expensive sport. Having a boat, running it, maintaining it, it is expensive. I mean, I'm not saying you need to be a gazillionaire, but you need to have enough money not to put yourself in trouble because you're going fishing.
Yes, yeah.
So,
for sure.
that was kind of the start of it. Then I went to the position of vice chairman, and I've been chairman essentially for this year.
And now they've fired you now after this year.
Well, not yet.
Had your money in there and your fingers in the till.
I think the one thing about Pedsac is I've also been very happy to be involved in the sponsorship of it. Isuzu has been a massive sponsor over the years of various competitions, including the Tuna Classic, which is a national competition.
Yeah.
I mean, just for argument's sake, this year, although very, very few tuna were caught, let alone anything decent.
Okay.
And it's a sign of not so much the times, but weather patterns and things play a big role when it comes to going out to the deep south. So we can run up to 40 nautical miles.
Wow. Okay. They go far out. I mean,
no, it's a long haul. But I think the point though is that sponsorships are important for that sort of thing, and it also draws the crowd. So
Yeah.
this year alone, we had a total sponsorship amount of about 1.5 million.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
although
yeah.
some of that was won in the form of, unfortunately or fortunately for me,
Yeah.
actually lucky draws, but
Yeah.
the main prize, which was a boat and
Yeah.
motors, sponsored by Buttcat Marine
Yeah.
in
Okay.
PE.
Yes. It's Charles. Was
well,
it
Len-
Charles Butt? that
Yeah,
used to have that, eh? The old
John
man.
Butt, I think
John.
the original.
I actually saw his bucky today. He was said butt cats.
That would be Len and Michelle. Yeah, they're the owners locally.
We've got to have them on here sometime as well. You'll have to put us in touch.
I think that'd be a good idea.
A good old
they're
Kenton.
they'll be a good couple to talk to, and Len can certainly talk the talk, and he knows
good.
his stuff. So he'd be a good guy to have. Anyway,
Yeah.
point is,
Yes.
they were also, as I say, main sponsors.
Okay.
Or the main sponsor of the classic. So I've always liked getting involved and enjoyed getting involved in the sponsorship, because it's a passion, and you try and do what you can for the club and the
And it just builds that whole community. There's a whole sort of sports fishing community, deep sea fishing community out there, and you've got to get the young people coming in to take over. And
well, that's actually one of
It's a
the
bit of a
challenges.
legacy.
It's one of the challenges, because it's difficult sometimes to get the youngsters to come in. Very often, their parents have other ideas,
yeah,
or maybe their parents are keen, but you've the one thing about the deep sea fishing side is that you generally got your crew, and you do that. You simply stick to a crew because you're looking for the reliability of it.
yeah.
So that also, I mean, it's nice to sometimes invite a guest and so on, but generally you stick to your crew because those are the guys who know your boat, know how you want to do things.
Yeah.
And you need to, of course, adhere to certain requirements.
Yes, yeah. I know, because I mean we've had the Rhodokanakis on.
I remember that.
And of course,
They're
Shane,
icons of fishing.
yeah, magic. And Shane Gerber was on as well. He's got his he's a gladiator, and Big John, he was also on.
Big John Fishing Charters. Yeah.
That's it. What's the most unexpected catch you've ever had while deep sea fishing? Unexpected one. So what have you pulled out?
Well, I suppose the most unexpected, there were probably two occasions, but the most unexpected was catching a fish called an Englishman.
Oh, an Englishman. Well, do you have a top hat and a cane?
You would have thought. I actually didn't know what it was. Like I said, I haven't been doing it for that long, and they're quite rare on our coast.
Okay, wow.
But it turned out to be an EP record.
Wow.
And it wasn't massive, but it was big enough to be on the outer
So
limits.
that's a record. You can put it up on your thing. Is that not that the one? Eh?
Yeah,
What is
that is it actually.
Is that the one?
Yeah, that is it.
Good lordy, look at that.
Not the most elegant picture, but yeah.
Just winking at you.
No, it's actually not that small, but photographs can be deceiving.
Gee whiz.
But yeah, that was the most unusual sort of catch. I mean, and I certainly wasn't expecting to see it as a record.
I'm sure.
But you were talking about the Gerbers. I think it was actually Wayne Gerber at the time, brother to Shane, who was the guy that was talking, or that in fact we called because he's of the most knowledgeable. And he said, "Well, hang on, make sure you bring it. It looks like it could be
a record,
potentially, an all EP type record."
Oh, magic.
So yeah, that was. He also happens to be the chairman of EP fishing, deep sea angling as well.
Do you prefer deep sea or river?
I must admit, river is fantastic, but if you want to catch fish,
deep sea
is the thing.
Okay,
there's just more happening. There's just more happening.
Do you think rivers have been fished out then? Obviously,
yeah.
Everybody has
the fished out side is such a difficult thing to answer because it really, there's so many conditions that depend on fishing. Depends on so many different conditions. So I think there is a degree of fished outness, but if you consider a river like Swartkorps, for argument's sake, there's still an enormous amount of fish and species in Swartkorps, but it's not the most kosher place to put your big finger into.
Yes,
I mean, you know that there's been enough talk and enough things floating down that river, and they're doing nothing about it. Oh, no. So it's quite sad. Yeah, because as a wetland, it really does host an enormous amount of fish species as well as bird life and
Yeah,
such
that,
like.
that whole mouth area is going to be I mean, it must be teeming with life. It should be teeming with life.
Well, it actually is, but
Yeah.
I think some of those fish have fingers.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's like this is like like the Italians. John de Beer, my favorite river to fish on.
I still like the Krum River.
Crum.
The problem with the
Francis.
Krum River is quite simply it's now so shallow that it's difficult to navigate a reasonable sized boat when the tide is low,
Okay.
up and down the river. But it's still, to me,
there's lots of shallow.
to me, it's still one of the nicer rivers, and certainly there've always been some pretty good catches there.
Well, we're going to be registering our boat there. See how we go. See how many sandbanks we can hit.
Well, I think once you learn it, and I mean, your boat's not that big, so you shouldn't have too much of a problem.
Yeah, you're right.
But it's just to get Gary motivated to
Yes,
get out.
I
I think
get there,
that's
yes.
always going to be a
Yes.
challenge,
He says Craig Wasserman reckons he caught a bigger fish than you, Trevor.
Yeah, I think he might think that, but I think he ought to prove it before he makes a statement. Although he didn't make the statement. So.
Nothing better than fresh tuna. You're right about that. Lordy.
Too true.
Gee whiz, look at that. Is that a fish? That
That-
looks like a flippin' cow.
That is a tuna, but that was actually when we were in Japan.
Okay.
Compliments of Isuzu at the time.
Okay.
We went to the fish market in Japan. It was one of the most interesting experiences, even if you're not a fisherman.
Yeah.
The amount of fish and fish type things that you can get and eat and buy and so on. And the thing that stood out for me in that market, and it really is massive. I mean, I'm talking warehouses and warehouses of fish and what have you that they're cutting and selling and so on.
Gee,
You do not smell fish at all.
really? Okay.
And I mean, it's a permanent
Clean.
It's a permanent fish market. It's clean, but you don't smell fish.
Sure.
I still don't understand why.
Maybe it's
the
really
weirdest
windy.
thing. Yeah.
I saw the good eyes. You see good eyes. Samson Cowie there, but Elmarie Sampson says I could make lots of pickled fish with that one. Yes, it looks like the flippin' hell and sushi. I mean, that's
why would you ruin a fish
To
by
pickle it.
pickling it?
pickled fish.
I mean, have a pickled onion if you want
makes
to
it
pickled.
last. Let's have a look at Jan. John says, I was hoping you were going to say the Krom. Mind the sandbanks, yes, and some good fish at the, what's it, the Rita? What's the Rita?
I think he's referring to sort of Sunday's River area.
Oh, the Rita.
Or
The Rita,
further
the
up.
reeds.
Could be
The
further,
reeds.
could be further up the Krom.
At the Rita. Okay. And I see there's Gary's got a whole lot of fishing pictures here. He's going to cycle through, I'm sure, in a mo. Oh, what is that? Oh, there we go.
Okay, so that's essentially a picture of. So we've actually got a league at Pedsac called the Super Six.
Yeah.
So it's a fishing league.
Okay.
That Isuzu was a main sponsor of, or is at the moment.
Okay.
And that's really just a poster for the next league registration and fishing day.
Lovely.
So the fish on the left is a yellowtail, for those who don't know, and on the right is a keelback.
Yo. Okay.
Both very good eating fish.
I'm actually making me hungry now.
Haven't you eaten it?
I feel like some fish now. Oh my word! Let's have a look at some more comments there. What we got? What we got, Gary? I see. There's something. Are you still hunting, or is the fishing taking all your time?
No, I must admit, hunting has taken a bit of a back seat, but I enjoy hunting, not for the sake of just shooting randomly.
Yes.
I enjoy the venison part of it, and
Yes.
probably the nicest part, other than the shooting and actually getting something, is the chats around the fire. You know, some of those farmers.
Yeah. Oh, they can tell a story. Yeah.
I tell you what, I think honestly, of the times that I've had really some humorous occasions, that has been easily the time when I thought I was actually going to hurt myself. I laughed so much. These guys are absolutely hilarious.
No,
really.
they are.
I mean, I can tell you a story about the one.
Yeah.
We went to a farm. In fact, this particular guy, I probably shouldn't mention his name at this point, but this particular guy is as they've had farms for many, many
We
years.
can tag him.
And and he's been hunting and been on safaris, and he's done big game and small game and in and out of South Africa. And he had a couple of farms around the Hanky Game Tues area.
Okay.
And we actually were invited out by West Bank, and some of the hierarchy of West Bank came down as well.
Okay.
And some of the guys came in quite late, flew in quite late. So we were on the farm already, and JP, the owner of the farm, also enjoyed chatting to the guys and getting involved. You know, he didn't just farm it out.
Yes.
And he's known for his pranks.
Okay.
Nevertheless, so on the one farm, because, you know, they've got a whole lot of farms and then gates that separate them. On the one farm, which actually at the end point of the farm overlooks the Game Tues River.
Lovely.
Very, very nice farm. In fact, he subsequently sold it. But he had some policemen renting one of the little houses that he had on the farm.
Okay.
And a good relationship with them, and they drove a van, a police van, and so on.
Yeah.
And he said to the guys that were there, which was including me, he said, "Look, there's this entourage coming down, and they are a little bit late, but they'll be driven from his farm to this one.
Yeah.
However, he's going to have a little chat to his
Police
friends, and there's going to be a request for hunting licenses."
Okay.
Now, in general terms, you know, a lot of the guys don't carry hunting licenses, although you should. I mean, I know the rules.
Yes.
But so these guys arrive, and of course, the cop car is waiting for them.
Yes.
Comes past, and now we're all standing there because we now set this thing up perfectly. We're on two-way radios. We set it all up, and everything is perfect. So we all sort of probably about 50 meters away, and we're all heading towards the spot where we know the cop car is, and when they're arriving at the one gate.
Okay.
And as we get there, the police have now hopped out of the van, blue light flashing, the whole toot, and they go over to the bucky where these four guys are, and they say, "Hi, how's it going?" And they say, "Look, please, can we see your hunting license?" No, look, we don't, but you know who we are. I mean, you know, no, that doesn't really matter. We need your hunting license. And they said, no, all right, well, then unfortunately we have to confiscate the rifles. So they take the rifles and put them in the van. But unfortunately, it doesn't end there. You're going to have to come with us to the police
Yes,
station.
of course.
So you're now going to be
in
charged.
the back of the van.
So now you just see the guy's eyes get bigger and bigger. And they think that they can't. I mean, this can't be happening. I mean, we're actually, you know, and I mean, you got a whole lot of motor dealers there looking at this whole lot, and everybody's staring at them. So we all get out of the car. They open the van, handcuff them.
Oh no!
They put them in the back of the van. And the one guy, a very, very senior banking guy, and he could just see his job flashing in front of his eyes.
That's not going to look on his CV.
No. Anyway, so and he says, guys, look, you've got to do something about them. I can't get into the van. No. This is not going to work. And he literally, I mean, you could see the guy was about to break down. Anyway, but these cops just hauled them into the van. Oh my word! Close the door, and you just see them staring over there with the handcuffs.
Just take a selfie.
Anyway, so at that point, JP decided, okay, now we've punished these guys enough. Yeah. So he goes to the van, he opens up. Oh, we're only kidding, guys. I tell you, they actually didn't believe that this was now a joke.
Can we get out?
Yeah. Now, listen, that night, of course, I mean, you've got to understand the stories and the swearing and the whatever.
The relief as well, probably a nice couple of dopes too.
No, it was, but I mean, just to see their faces as they climbed into the van like a convict was worth it, I promise you.
Oh, the back of those vans, oh my word. Tell us about the Patrick Swayze movie.
Good heavens, where did Gary dig this one out from?
Patrick Swayze movie. What the hell is that about?
Well, I mean, I assume you remember who Patrick Swayze is.
Yes, yeah.
So
R.I.P.
Yeah, no, for sure. But Yeah, it was actually strange. So one of our attorneys who had a farm out in Bedford, in actual fact, he's
Bedford.
sort of Bedford
Okay.
area. He actually got me into the whole hunting thing. I think he had every buck known to man on that farm, and then some. Nevertheless, he was approached by some American film company
Yeah.
to use a section of his farm to shoot a movie.
Okay.
In fact, King Solomon's Mines.
Okay. That
You would-
I remember that. That
Yeah.
was a long time ago. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't that long ago,
Yeah.
because I think this is version 2. But okay.
Okay. 10 years.
So,
maybe.
well, no, it was a bit longer than that.
Okay.
Anyway, so it was quite interesting because he said, well, look, why don't you come to the farm over the weekend? Excuse me, and come check it out. I thought, well, that's interesting. So I said, well, what's it about? He said, no, well, I don't know much detail. They said they paid me a small fortune for them to be on the farm and to shoot. And I said, you can do whatever you like, and he did, because and they literally, I mean, you can't believe how they lay the whole area out and make it look like those back in those days.
So the props, building up all the sets and everything.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, and in actual fact, it was quite interesting. Nevertheless, so we decide that afternoon, because they were shooting that late afternoon, we decided we're now going to go down and see what's going on. So his farmhouse is right at the top, and there was quite a long travel to go. So we decided we're going to ride next to the fence, an offensive sort of way to get there. And lo and behold, we're probably about 1 kilometer out, looking down on where they're shooting, and this guy jumps out of the bush in front of the vehicle. I mean, I nearly rode him over. And he says, switch off, stop. Okay. So anyway, so they've got these guys that stand all around the scene.
Yeah. Stop people from...
to stop people and cars and whatever else might be running around that would look bad in the picture. And eventually there was a gap, and they radioed, and we managed to get there. And the short story is it was Patrick Swayze, and I forget some.
So it was there.
Lady.
Wow.
Yeah, he was doing
Running
his
around.
thing, and there was a kid that they actually apparently decided to use as one of the actors. I don't know how it worked out, but they were on the neighboring farm, because they were actually sleeping on the neighbor. So
Willie, come.
It seemed to work for them. So, but you cannot believe the entourage that follows these movie stars. I mean, the amount of trucks, I don't know where they found them all, because so they have like a 4 or 5 course meal every now and then in the middle of nowhere. I mean, they basically import and bring it. You should have seen these big marquee tents that they put out. But that evening, we were invited to the neighbor's farm where Patrick Swayze and because they've got these body doubles.
Oh,
they all have body doubles, which I also learned was interesting, because you
didn't ask them if they needed somebody else there.
So a very short chat to Patrick Swayze, but he seemed like a hell of a nice guy. And he actually went to
chat to him as well.
Yeah, that evening we were having a couple of beers around a very big sort of bar area on that farm, and he said he had a hell of a headache, and he's unfortunately going to go to sleep.
Yes.
Hopefully that wasn't the time.
You didn't get in that you could do body double for the more sexy scenes.
I don't think that they would have taken me.
Okay.
I kind of knew my limitations
For the love scenes.
Yeah, but it was very interesting, I must say. It was quite
I'm sure.
quite an interesting thing. I've never seen something like that before. But
well, Cape Town is a big place for that now, but I think Eastern Cape that's moving this way too. They've got.
Oh, it seems that subsequently they've done quite a few snippets of movies in that area. Yeah.
So the Burkies there are getting used to it,
and they get money for it. So.
Yeah. Now, I'm just gonna. I've got a whole bunch of questions here as well that Gary's prepared for me too. But like wine, because I know you and Gary, it's always at the wine tastings.
Well, some people would beg to differ, but I actually think I refined Gary's palate.
Oh, really?
Because we had an argument at one of my favorite places many years ago, Umgazi in the Transkei.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know Umgazi.
Umgazi. Okay. Yeah.
Fantastic place. I eventually managed to get Gary there, and we went did a bit of fishing and that. But one of our
Where is
biggest
it, like
arguments.
Port St. John's?
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
before Port St. John's. Yeah, magnificent resort, really.
Okay.
A bit pricey these days, but very nice.
Yeah.
In fact, you can go overseas for less.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we sat at the I never forget this. I mean, I doubt Gary would remember because it's not so significant in his mind. But we had a proper argument because I said, "No, I want a bottle of that."
Yeah.
He said, "But why can't we have this, off the shelf house wine?" I said,
Yes.
"No. Anyway, to this day, I think he now realizes that I was right
Yes.
and he was wrong. When
Well,
you
he's a
pay
right
extra,
tough these days.
well, yes, and you know what? The fact is, if you pay a little more, you do get better wine. So by and large, because it takes a little more finesse to make a better wine, and it's costly.
Well, I mean, he prepared for you tonight with all the brandy, and he got this number 5 here.
Well, if he's not careful, I might devour that too before the end of the evening.
And it's like, Gino, have we got proper wine glasses? I mean, what? It's a wine glass. It's a wine glass.
No, that's a tasting glass. I don't know where that comes from.
Well,
Normally,
it's
Gary
one of
brings
his.
the wine glasses.
Yeah, he brought the tasting glasses apparently.
But you are aware of the fact that in the proper glass or the right glass,
Oh, it
wine
does.
does taste better.
I like to have the
It's-
thin.
Yeah.
The
It's
thin
not a
little-
fallacy at all. It's a fact.
Yes,
And
yes.
they've actually proven it. Don't ask me how.
Well, it's like a placebo effect, I would imagine. It's just like, oh, that looks much nicer, and then you taste.
No. It does actually change the taste of the nose.
I think that if you had to put a crappy wine in a good glass, and then a good wine in a crappy glass,
Yeah.
And
No,
then-
look, you don't
and
know
then-
much about wine, but it's
and
fine.
then
It's no
then
problem.
you'd
Is it-
probably taste it a little bit better. It would taste the same.
Not at all.
What are your favorite wine routes in the States there? Down in Western Cape side.
That's a very tough one because, quite honestly, you could spend an entire season and not cover all the good ones.
I'm assuming that your favorites in the Western Cape as opposed to anywhere else. Yeah.
No, definitely. Look, I mean, I must say, and I'm probably digressing slightly, but one of the best red wines I've had in many, many years was, in fact, just a few months ago on the way back from Rotterdam, or Amsterdam, actually.
Oh.
So we were fortunate.
Nederland.
Yeah.
In the proper Nederland.
So we were fortunate enough to be flying business class, and on the way back, I looked specifically for a decent red, and I found a French red wine that they were offering, which was unbelievably good.
Yeah.
As I say, of the best I've had in many, many years.
Okay.
But I still believe that South Africa have also some of the most magic ones.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, because I've kind of
Yes.
digressed,
Yes.
there are just so many options. What kind of wine do you want to drink? So I think by and large, if you're wanting a Sauvignon Blanc from a colder climate, then your sort of Elam, Himmel and Arde area is the nicest.
Chardonnays. I
Same,
like a
same
Chardonnay.
area.
Do you like heavily
colder
wooded
climate.
or-
The thing about a Chardonnay is a lot of people talk about ABC, anything but Chardonnay.
Oh, yes. I have heard that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But I love Chardonnay.
Yeah, there are times when a Chardonnay is good, but I think what's happening now is that the heavily wooded way of doing things is sort of losing a bit of momentum.
Yeah.
There's still some really elegant Chardonnays that are made quite heavily.
Yeah. But the new ones, like
But
unwooded.
But in general terms, there are a couple of really nice unwooded. Look, there's some revolting unwooded Chardonnays too. But yeah, so for those two white varietals, the colder climate is better. So if you then go to the other side, your Cederbergs, also fantastic white wines as well. I mean, it's one of the highest vineyards in Africa for wines. But then your reds,
talking about altitude or
altitude,
okay.
full vineyards in there. But then also your Durbanville area, also very, very good with their whites.
Yeah,
they've got a couple of really nice reds, but Durbanville generally has produced an enormous amount of good. It also depends on the soil, terroir, as some
Indeed.
people talk about.
Yes, yeah,
Um,
that's true. It's true. I get that. We've got the whiskey tasting thing as well that we've been doing for a couple of years now, and I've really got into the tasting a bit. So I can understand the more you taste as well, the better your palate gets.
No, absolutely. The irony is I can't drink whiskey.
Is it?
I have no idea why. I've never managed to acquire the taste.
Yeah.
I can pretty much drink anything else, but whiskey not.
Like,
And I really like beer too. But anyway.
okay.
So yeah,
But like, if you had to say no, there's definitely. What about Stony Brook? Was it Stony Brook? Was Bev's lot? Bev Erickson's down there.
Yeah,
I
no,
would still
that's
want to
right.
go and have a taste there as well.
No, I think I should force myself too.
We had a marvelous tasting there the one time. The winemaker came out and we got totally toasted all together after hours. His wife still phoned him and moaned at him. The winemaker's wife phoned him. Said, "You're going to come home now." We're in one of our best.
Well,
tastings
that's the nice thing about a lot of winemakers is they're so passionate about what they do,
Yes.
and the drinking part
Yes.
that it actually becomes something like a social event for them, and they like to share their passion and literally share the passion.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I see Gary's put a shameless punt up here. It says, "I see you're part of the wine lovers group." That's is that Gary's baby? You've been there since the beginning as well.
Yeah, I have, and I
have.
And I must say that the thing about our little group is that we all have one thing in common. We do enjoy decent wine, and that's really what it's about, So you can actually have a really good time talking about what you enjoy, and everybody, although opinions differ, which is perfectly normal, at least everybody is in agreement that it's great. And the format we do sometimes is also very interesting, where we blind taste.
Oh, nice.
So there is none of that. Look at this glass. Look at that glass.
I love a blind tasting.
And yes, Gary, being the comedian that he is, will always throw in a wild card.
Yes, he does. Yes.
And invariably, thankfully, it's not normally complete plonk.
Yes.
But it has fooled a few palates. I'd like to think if mine was fooled, it was because I'd had an elegant sufficiency.
Yes. when it's been pulled.
Yeah, true.
All right. I see Gary's. I'm going to skip through these fishing ones because we've done that. We've been through the fishing. We're onto wine here already. I see the biggest risk that you've ever taken. Let's take the biggest risk that you've ever taken.
I'm a little risk averse, to be
Yes.
honest.
Oh,
That's
you
probably
don't.
why I've been with the same company forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
But I have to say, the biggest risk has generally been along the lines of financial risk. So,
Yeah.
biggest risk, first house. You think, how the hell am I going to pay it?
Did you buy it when it was 26%?
Hell, I can't remember, but I
Yeah, the
remember
first
thinking,
house.
I'm just going to close my eyes and do this. But
I don't know.
as it goes, then it all works out.
Okay, while we're doing this now, I think I'm just have a quick for myself as well. A quick zap back in your history. PE born and bred, hey?
Yes. Yeah.
Herbert Hurd, was it Herbert Hurd with Gary?
Yeah, Gary.
So
Fortunately, Gary was a year ahead of me.
okay.
Yeah. So yes, Herbert Hurd to start.
Okay.
So.
And but you guys met each other when you were very young.
No, look, I mean, we literally lived. He was literally just down from
Down the road.
my birthplace as well. Yeah, I don't know if he was born in that house, but I think our parents essentially met over the fence. I don't think there were walls back then.
Okay. Yes.
If there was in fact a fence.
Yeah. Where was that? And where
In Fern Glen.
Fern Glen. Okay, so it's still Fern Glen. That same house that he's in now.
No.
It's a different house.
No.
It just moved. Appel van die ver van die boom af nie.
Pretty much.
So Fern Glen and then Herbert Hurd. You enjoy your school days? Or you picked on all the time, Trevor?
If I could be frank with you, school wasn't a highlight of my life. I had other things I wanted to do.
Okay.
Literally other things. So I probably wasn't the best scholar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Interested.
I wasn't overly bowled over by school.
What did you enjoy though? What sort of things did you enjoy as a child? Like what did you think you were going to do?
for some unknown reason, I always thought I was going to be an engineer. And then I decided that the mathematics was not for me.
Okay.
And I realized then that maybe marketing and sales was
Yeah.
for me. As a matter of fact, you won't believe it. My sales management lecturer popped in and visited me at work the other day. Out of the blue. And I mean, he's no longer a young man, but a hell of a nice guy.
Was that a tech?
Yeah, at
Okay,
Technicon.
okay. Yeah, Technicon.
Yeah. He popped in and visited me out of the blue, and his son is actually a very successful business guy in PE as well, a little bit younger than me.
Yeah.
And he actually brought me a reel, like a film reel. I don't know what size it is, but I mean the old-fashioned film reel in a box.
A projector reel.
Yeah,
Jeez,
whatever size it is. And he said to me, "Look, if you can get it right, play this thing, because it was given to me by somebody many moons ago, and it looks old."
Yeah.
And he said it actually was something that was developed by General Motors Detroit for best practices on a showroom. So I'm assuming this dates back to the 60s.
Jeez,
I guess.
okay. What's best practice in the showroom?
Well,
for the 60s, I don't know.
I don't know if it's similar or
Petrol
better.
has got the bigger the engine, the better, the more gas it guzzles.
No idea, because I have no idea where I'm going to put it in and play it. If those projectors even exist, and I mean they're probably very bulky, and most of them stopped working because it's very mechanical in those.
Well,
days.
maybe go and have a look in the roof of Herbert Hurd, because you probably find one there. Carl van der Merwe says, "Hi, Trev, you made any new knives lately? Are you a knife maker?"
Listen, I haven't made knives in many, many years. Yeah.
You said engineering, so is that?
So I like working with my hands a lot.
Yeah.
In fact, I find it quite peaceful. When I find the time, because that's also a bit of a struggle.
Yes. Oh, look, these are knives. You make those?
Yeah. So, in fact, that collection there is actually a collection of the late Rob Brown. He was a world famous knife maker.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, he had, as I say, world renown when it came to making knives.
So you're a bit of a collector as well.
Yeah. Well, I have collected over the years. Yeah. I've stopped because it's become a very expensive thing to do.
Yeah.
There's, for argument's sake, there's one that I made. I started making some knives to order as well, but it's just so time consuming.
I'm sure. Yeah,
and quite honestly expensive. I mean, that stainless steel is what's called I haven't done this for so long.
Tempered.
Yeah, well, it is, but it's an N690 steel, which is imported steel.
Yeah.
And it's expensive to buy, and then everything that goes with it, and very time consuming to make. But it's very satisfying once you've made something.
I heard that the polishing is like takes forever.
The polishing is part of it, but there's a lot to it. The grinding is the most is the thing that requires the most accuracy.
Yes.
Because if you make one mistake,
your whole knife is buggered.
You got to throw it away. So, so I made a good couple of knives, but eventually I decided, look, it's just too time consuming, and I've still got all the equipment. I've still got some knives that I was sort of in the middle of completing. I've got a whole lot of knife material, so I could start again tomorrow. Although I think I've forgotten now. But
it's like riding a bicycle.
Yeah, I don't know. I tell you what, you get better as you do it more often. I've got a lot of friends who also make knives.
Yes.
Some amazing pieces. There's one guy in town who is in fact at the Blade Show in America now, I think.
Wow.
And he only sells his knives overseas because it's all in dollars.
Okay.
And some of these high-end knives, even locally made, fetch $3,000, $4,000, $5,000.
Jeez.
So
hey, that is a lot.
And I mean they're not huge.
Yeah.
I'm talking small, petite sort of. But the craftsmanship is really what it's about. I was never, and I never will be in that sort of league. But it's very satisfying. I do other things now.
It's great. I think also a knife is something that you can look at that. What's that?
It's funny. Axe. It's funny that Gary should bring that up.
It looks like
that over there is the incompleted axe
Yes.
that was something that I was challenged to make by Gary. Gary has a habit of, I don't know when he does it. I don't think it's late at night when he's got nothing else to do. He goes onto YouTube and finds all these weird and wonderful things. And I must admit that caught my attention.
Wow.
I thought, stuff it, I must actually do this. So that is made out of a railway line.
Jeez, like one of those railway
So-
sleeper things.
So, well, not a sleeper, a line.
Oh, the
an
line.
actual line. Yeah.
Oh my soul.
So,
yes.
so I got a piece of it. If you can picture
Yeah.
what a railway line looks like,
Yes, yeah.
I got a
and
piece
there's
of it.
cross section of it there.
and I followed this video step by step,
Jeez. Like,
and it was the toughest job I have ever done in my life.
is that hole in there? Is that?
So
is
that's
that
where
always in
that's where
there?
the handle. No, that's where the handle goes.
No, but did you have to drill that?
Well,
through?
not drill it, but you got to make the hole. Yes, it was a
How do
nightmare.
how the hell do you?
I
make
think
a
it
hole like
must
that?
have. You see all those sanding discs and grinding discs. I think I
Yeah.
must have gone through hundreds and hundreds of rands, and I swore and cursed at Gary every step of the way. But you know, it then of course after that, I mean, you don't do something like that without actually hardening it. We do vacuum harden, and it was easily the most difficult thing the guys ever had to try and vacuum harden,
Jeez, like,
because it hardens from the carriages and so on going over the track. It actually hardens it.
yes. of
So you've got
course.
to anneal it first, then harden it, and you've got to get to a certain rock
What's
to
kneel it? What do you?
anneal it. So you've got to soften it.
Oh, okay.
And
so
it's
you
a-
heat it.
Well, you heat it and cool it. It's a whole process.
Okay.
I've never been involved
In
in
a
that
kiln.
process.
So, yeah.
Well, eventually it goes into sort of a vacuum kiln to
Okay.
but they had a good few shots at it because it was so difficult.
Yo.
And like I said, that was probably it's not the most appealing looking axe, but you've got to understand the amount of effort that goes into that,
Yeah,
or that went into
sure.
that was second to none.
Yeah.
And every time I look at it, I think, thank you, Gary, but I could kill you. You know what I'm saying? So I put it up in my bra area, and it's more of a hell I did it,
Yeah.
and I never want to do another
Yeah,
one.
no, yeah, I get it. And so that's nice little tray there. That's
Yeah, no, I fiddle with
bit of rope from your boat.
it actually is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I try when I make odds and ends, I try not to buy too much material. I try to use
Okay.
material, scrap material. There's
Wow.
I started making a whole lot
So
of
metalwork, eh?
deep sea anchors. and
You're
things.
welding. You can weld.
Yeah,
as
so
well.
I enjoy TIG welding tremendously.
Yeah.
I just decided one day that I need to learn to weld, and
Yeah.
I sort of taught myself, and I watched
Jeez,
a lot of, much like Gary does, YouTube videos.
Yes.
And I just started to make anchors, and I've had a good few of my fishing colleagues who've actually ordered anchors. But I
Yeah.
like to use, quite honestly, expensive materials. So I
Yeah.
use a 316 stainless, which is your
Okay.
best quality stainless steel.
Okay.
And I mean, in salt water, it doesn't rust.
Yeah. So that'll last forever.
But it's
Lovely.
quite something bending those things. You can,
Yeah.
it's difficult bending,
Okay.
those, especially when you don't have a bending
I'm
machine. or
sure.
something.
Gee, it must be that.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just get a kick out of putting things together and welding.
There's something about making something yourself that's really appealing. I really do. Is there? I've got a question. Your biggest adrenaline rush. Is Gary's given me 2 clues here. He says San Francisco fun.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So I probably have to say that the trip we had to San Francisco was very interesting, because we went to the international racetrack there.
Oh.
And that was one of General Motors', let's almost call it a swan song that they had, because they had all the latest Corvettes and Camaros,
Wow. Okay.
all the V8s, the highly tuned stuff.
Yes,
and we
yes.
actually went around the track with their sponsored racing driver.
Oh, wow.
And I've got to
okay.
say the G-forces behind or in that car were
We're
quite...
talking about NASCAR now, pretty much.
No,
then.
no. Well, I don't know about not
Yeah.
NASCAR. I'm talking
The
about
track.
not just an oval track. I'm talking
Okay.
about a proper race.
Okay.
And I have to say that's probably one of the most. I've been in a lot of fast cars on tracks, and that was probably one of the most exhilarating
Yeah.
drives I've ever experienced.
Huge motors and just like
Just the fact that it's got the grip it has when you're battling to pull your neck back.
Yeah.
You know, you're not sitting in a racing seat with the proper harness and that sort
Yeah.
of thing. You're sitting in a pretty much stock car, but somebody who
Jeez.
can really drive.
Yeah.
Oh, we had helmets and all that sort of thing, but
Okay.
it really was quite something. And I mean, the
And even
show.
Tires, normal tires, or
Well,
slightly.
the tires were massive, but the show they put on, all the burnouts and all the weird. They did drag racing. We did the whole lot.
Yeah.
In one day. It was quite something. I haven't experienced something quite to that extent.
And then he says Drakensberg is another one.
Yeah, look, I mean,
that
that was not fun for me.
oh,
This whole zip lining across a million craters and valleys and things. And then while we were doing that, and I wasn't enjoying it because I don't like heights.
okay, all right.
I've got my limitations.
Yes.
Then of course there was a lightning storm, and the last thing you want to be on is a bloody zip line with a steel cable. I mean, I don't need to tell you the dangers involved in that. Luckily, the entourage that I was with, because I mean, I don't know if you've been up in the Drakensberg and done all those zip lining things. You really are on rock faces and things.
Yeah.
And high up
there.
Thankfully, I managed to persuade these buggers that we should not carry on doing this.
Okay, it's bad.
It's bad enough looking down, 5 kilometers, but to be struck by lightning up there
as well.
I want to see my kids grow up.
Yes, I get that. Have you ever had an experience to describe as an adventure, like?
I would certainly say that we were fortunate enough to go on a trip to Brazil many years ago, and I have to say that if I ever went back to a place, I'd like to go back there. So we had the whole experience. So
Amazon things.
Went into the Amazon.
Wow.
It really was something else. It's difficult to describe because the way they put it together was it's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
It's got its own political challenges.
I'm sure.
And crime is a massive problem
Really?
there. Luckily, we didn't experience much of that. But the Amazon alone was terribly interesting. I mean, we stayed in a hotel on stilts because that river rises and falls by many meters very often. So the hotel was, as I say, on stilts.
Okay.
And the first evening we were there in this wooden hotel, you actually look out.
Okay.
And they say, well, have a look over there where the boat, because you've got this long sloping sort of walkway onto a jetty. Yeah. But it has to be long and sloping because sometimes you literally over here when you dock, sometimes you're down there because of the rise and fall of the water. Okay. It looks like it's quite something to see, really.
It's like a long walkway.
Yeah, but it literally goes down like that.
Okay.
So, and then at night you shine a light over there and you just see thousands and thousands of eyes looking at you in the water. I mean, the caiman crocodiles there are unbelievable.
Jeez,
but more interesting than that, if it could possibly be, we actually went to a very deserted area. I think it's all kind of deserted to a large degree, where these people had never seen the mainland. They actually lived in the Amazon. But
yes, because I mean, you always wonder about these. You talk about these tribes that live in the Amazon. They've never seen people.
It's true.
But I mean, I wonder how much of that is just tourism and
Well, given that the let's call it the wife of the husband, I think she was on her 25th kid.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I mean, I do believe. Thank you, sir. I do believe that. That I mean, there also just lack of basic understandings of things sometimes too.
Yeah.
But what was very interesting.
25 children. That is tough.
But what was fascinating was our guide, a lady as well, and she wears the proper outfit, and she's got this big panga hanging from her side. And she said, "Look, these are the rules in the forest and so on, but you're going to find this interesting." And I mean, a bunch of guys, we like to have a few and so on. Yeah. And obviously, it's a bit. We had a bit of a long night.
Yes.
But we traveled quite a long way into this area, and she says, "Well, I'm going to show you some interesting things." So she's got a sort of a youngster on the side that's walking with her, and this guy's picking branches and folding things and making things as we walk. And she said, "Well, I'm assuming you guys have got, some of you got a bit of a hangover."
Yeah.
And I mean, sheepishly, some of the guys, I said, "Well, this tree over here is incredible. And she takes a panga and chops. She says, right, take a sip of it's like a white fluid that's coming out of there.
Yeah.
And it literally is like a Disprin type thing, and instant cure for pains and things like that. But so we went through one tree. If you've got nothing to drink, there's something that she cut this, folded that, put a little leaf there, and water's coming out of this tree. Tasted it. It's pure water. There's no funny taste whatsoever. And so she went. I mean, from a deep heat type fluid that came out of tree. It was really. I mean, this is apparently why there are so many research houses and what have you on the banks of the river in the Manus area, which is the mainland. And they've got all kinds of pharmaceuticals and things that they actually, from what I can gather, they actually take whatever naturally arrives and try and make it up artificially. Yeah. So it was very interesting. I mean, all round.
Because Brazil is also it's such a diverse, it's a huge country as well.
It's massive. I mean, Sao Paulo, just flying into Sao Paulo. It's the longest flight you'll have while you're looking down at the city. It just seems to go on forever. for hours, No, it's massive. I think it's one of the biggest cities in the world.
Gary's putting the messages up. It says Gary Burger. Is it Gary Tate Burger?
He's referring to Gary Tate.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, Gary Tate and I go back a long way.
Okay. Somebody tag Gary. Tag him.
As a matter of fact, I think he's in the UK now as well.
Okay.
So once upon a time, you like that start?
Yes, I like that start. Once upon a time.
Yeah. So when I was at Williams Huntsville, Gary was advertising manager for Die Burger newspaper, which is kind of, I don't think, in existence in
it's still
anymore.
going on. I think it's still going on.
Well, I don't
The
know.
Burger.
Anyway, so
It's spotted News 24, I think. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but I'm not so sure that it's all that busy in the PE area anyway. So anyway, we decided we were going to do a bit of a marketing thing and run a little competition for Die Burger readers or subscribers. Sorry.
Okay.
And what we decided to do, and they set it all up, it was really, really well done.
Yeah.
We were going to take the lucky couple or lucky winners into the Bavillons with a couple of Isuzus. Yeah. And we were going to stay in the Bavillons. I forget the exact place. But we were going to stay there, and we were going to do a long drive through, and lots of nice beverages once we were off the main road. And it was really a nicely set up thing. So we had 3 or 4 bakkies, and we had a quad at the back of the one. And nevertheless, so Gary and myself and one of his colleagues was with us and we basically were the lead vehicle, 4-wheel drive. Okay. And we stopped off at a pub. Yeah. So I can't tell you where it was. I can't remember. We stopped off at a pub. It was a nice little entourage, and there was this older couple. I must be nice. Maybe they even, Anyway, so there was this older couple that were with us, and they had won this little trip, and
competition winners.
The competition winners. So essentially, we were going to stay in this little resort that had just been set up, and give them a nice time and have a little off-road experience.
Lovely.
Nevertheless, we stop off at this pub, and we're driving along, and we suddenly decide we don't know where the hell we're going. Okay?
Oh dear. Big
problem.
Was it pre-GPS?
I was going to say GPS wasn't awfully useful because I don't know that even any of these roads. Eventually, we managed to make a call. This is quite some time ago, to the owner of this little resort or farm resort or whatever it was, and he said, "No, you've gone the wrong way. You've got 2 choices. You either have to come right around and go up to the Corrida area, or you got to go over the mountain."
Oh dear.
We've got 4-wheel drives. Got 4-wheel drives. We like really strong at this point. I mean, everything's just fine.
Yes.
And Gary is quite a colourful chap. A lot of people know him, and he's quite a colourful chap and extremely humorous when he's had a few drinks. Nevertheless, we decide, look, it's late now. I mean, no way in hell we're going to go all around.
Yeah.
We're going to go over the mountain.
Okay, yes.
A mountain that we don't know.
Oof.
So we head up, and it's 4-wheel drive, and
Yeah.
the going is quite rough.
Okay.
And Gary decides that he's now going to make life very funny.
Yeah.
The problem with that was that I think I was laughing so much, I actually stopped the vehicle. Sort of, when you're at an angle like this and you stop, and the poor bugger behind you has also got to try and pull off from there. We made such a mess of things. It was actually quite ridiculous, because at one point the bucky behind us got stuck. Because we stopped in a reasonably sort of safe spot to be able to pull off again.
Yes.
He's sitting there in midair like this with the quad on the back.
Because momentum is your friend.
Well, that's exactly it. And
Exactly.
it's loose at 12 o'clock at night.
All
All you could
with
hear,
your guests.
all you could hear in the bucky was the rattling of bottles as we're going up. It's actually quite crazy when you get to think about it.
Yeah.
And I think these people have been cured from any 4x4 trip ever again. At something like 12 o'clock, we finally found our way there. But I don't think I've ever laughed that much in my life. I think, though, had we been sober,
Yeah.
it would have been a different story.
Yes.
Because I think it was actually a crazy movie.
Yes.
But it was really funny at the time. You got to believe it.
Have you got another moment that made you laugh so hard it became a lasting memory? Have you got any laughing moments?
Yeah. Regrettably, it was with Gary. And to be totally honest with you, we were in junior school.
Yeah.
And in those days, you climbed on your bicycle and you were lucky to be home that night, sort of thing.
Yes,
Because there was just no worry about anything.
Yeah. Well, 6 o'clock was the cutoff, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, we did get into crap if
Yeah,
you were a bit later than that, depending on winter and summer. And
Yeah.
so we were we decided we're going to take a nice long ride. And literally, as I say, we were very, very young, innocent, knew
Yes,
nothing. Nothing was an issue. And we decided we're going to ride to what was then the newly formed Green Acres.
Oh.
So I don't know, you would know that
Okay, yeah.
Green Acres.
So you're going down Cape Road?
Yeah, but you know that Green Acres used to be a race course.
Yeah. Oh, yes, of course. Yes. Yeah.
So they just built Green Acres.
The horse racing.
Yeah, it's now showing our
Yes.
age. So
Yes.
So we go, and I mean, what a magnificent place for two young guys. You've got this beautiful, smooth area, and you've got risers with the tiles, and we were cycling ourselves stupid.
They were still building, in other words.
They just finished building
so it wasn't open yet.
a small portion. No, it was open, but a small portion of it. And I mean, we had an enormous. I mean, we were skidding around, and as
inside on your bicycles.
No, we were having a massively good time. Yeah, how fast can you go? And you jam on brakes. That our fathers loved it because we went through tires like you can't believe. But we were really having a magnificent time.
Yeah.
And suddenly, I don't know where the security guard jumps out.
Oh.
And he stops us, and he is pissed off. And he says, "What are you?" I was thinking, "No, well, we're cycling around it. You can't cycle here. Are you mad?" Now, I mean, as I say, you're young. We literally we're not as well versed as the youngsters of today.
Yes.
Because I mean, we're footloose and fancy.
Yes.
Anyway, so we try to not challenge the guy, but say, look, we're having fun. Leave us alone, sort of thing. He says, "No, you don't understand. You have to leave."
Yeah.
And we argued the point, and Gary was always good at arguing.
Yes.
So he had a good shot at it, and eventually the guy turned around and he said, "You know what? If you don't go, they're going to tell me to take my jacket and fuck off." I think that was the last thing we were expecting, and then we realized the guy's serious.
Oh, shame, man. Yes, like
For some unknown reason, at the age of 56, Gary and I still find that funny. I guess it's one of those you had to be there to find it funny.
I know, but there's one thing about when we did grow up, there was kids have got to have those moments. We used to ride around the Leipzig Park, old age homes, to have races around there. I mean, God, they used to come out and moan at us as well. But your kids, your kids.
Yeah, but the kids don't have that luxury these days, which is actually quite sad.
Yeah, it's a much more hectic world out there now.
Yeah, it's technology and phones and games and.
Now, tell me the biggest bogus rumor that you've ever heard about yourself.
That's actually an easy one.
Yeah, it's normally a tough one for people. They normally don't know. Yeah. What is it?
It's an easy one. So I think I was at work
Yeah.
a couple of years ago, and my mother gave me a call. And she said, "You won't believe this, but there are some people that honestly believe there's a major, major problem going on at your house."
What?
So I said, "I don't know what you're talking about." She said, "No." So she's with this walking group.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
so they walk around the countryside, or
Like a hiking sort of
no,
thing.
no. Well, they do the sort of, the elderly do little walks around neighborhoods. Anyway, so she was walking past my place at the time, and at the time my boat was, as you look through the gate, it was standing right there. You know, the deep sea boat. In fact, the picture you saw.
Yeah. Okay.
So at the time,
The
my
angel-
boat, the angelfish.
Angelfish.
That's number 6. But anyway,
Okay.
side point. So this woman turns around to her friend. Now they walk in these groups, and my mother's now within earshot of us. And this woman says, "Did you know over in that house there's a parliament poacher that lives there?"
That's a bogus rumor.
My mother thought it was absolutely hilarious, and she phoned me immediately to tell me, "You
got
know,
this-
walk. I'm a parliament poacher."
Poacher on the side. Obviously, you've got a lot of time on your hands. you know.
How the hell this woman derived or put together parliament poacher with boat, I don't know. But I became the parliament poacher.
That's very funny. Okay.
Apart from the fact that I don't think I've ever touched a parliament in my life.
That's a good one. I think we might have a winner there. All the things that people say.
I still like to meet the person who said that.
Oh my word. Well, I don't know. They obviously don't think very highly of you.
No, but I want to lead them up the garden path.
I'm sure. How does your body and how do you react to stress? Because I mean, it must be stressful sometimes. Doing what you do as well.
Pretty much all the time, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You handle stress all right.
Look, I must say, there are times when one doesn't.
Yeah.
And I first admit I get annoyed, and then it's difficult to control one's annoyance at times. I think over the years, I might have got better. Some staff would attest to that.
They tell you you're lying. Tell us what he's like at work.
No, easy now. I think the big thing for me is I need to do some exercise. You know, the old story about reducing the cortisol levels. And endorphins
It helps.
stuff. It does. So I used to do all kinds of different things. I mean, I ran, I cycled, I did a couple of triathlons until injury was a major problem. But right at the moment, I'm enjoying racquetball. So that's the thing I do.
What's this paddle thing that's going on as well?
So I mean, paddle's taking off. That's more of an outdoor sort of tennis-y,
squash.
Dare I say tennis set-ish type bat. I played it once or twice. Actually, very nice. But racquetball, I find, gives one a bit of workout.
That's it's like a squash court.
It's in the squash court. It's called Squash 57.
Oh, okay.
Because of the size of the ball.
The ball, yeah.
Okay. So it's very, very similar rules. And it gives you a really good workout in 45 minutes. You've had a proper workout. And that takes the edge off.
I worry about a bit of a heart attack. You're playing squash, at our age. They ask Ian Olivier.
Well, you say that. I mean, a very good friend of mine that I got to know at racquetball literally died on the court.
Gee, he was young.
So, but I think, it's not about the sport. It's about the fact that it can happen at any time with any sport.
Yeah, but you also got to get your exercise in. You have to.
I have to. I'm honestly very, very, very much one of those guys. I have to do something just to, and then instantly I'm feeling
better,
calm and relaxed.
Good. So a bit of exercise, guys.
No, it's a must do. It's a must do.
Let's have a quick squiz of some of these comments before we go to the next question here, because I see there's more coming in.
I'm sure they are.
Gary's marking them off here to try and get them. There's a whole bunch. Everybody wants a bit of a shout out. Trevor, if you don't forget, you're also a damn good cyclist. I like that.
No,
Tracy and I will leave you in the dust.
Okay, well, I have an answer to that. A very good answer to that. I don't have an e-bike.
Oh,
so I have a normal mountain bike, and I do enjoy the cycling. But it's so easy for an e-bikist to say, "Oh, look, you're falling behind. I'm sorry. Are you using any help? Okay, all right."
Oh, but when you're on the straight, they've got to use their batteries in the right place as well.
Yeah,
Cheryl,
they all help themselves. You know that.
also Cheryl, nice to see you as well. I think she's just been down to Cape Town doing all of the things there with Melina. The two of them having a jol down there.
Now, she's normally in St. Francis these days.
Yes, she is as well. I know, with Melina too. Werner saying some big boys cry on the Tuna Classic.
Yeah, I think he's referring to himself, actually.
Elliot Golo. It's a nice one, Trev. That must be, is it workmates, I presume. Sean Willis, enjoyed your interview with Trevor. Thank you.
Sean is head of Motorrad in South Africa.
What is that?
Motorrad, as in BMW motorcycles.
Okay.
And he's a guy that's definitely going places.
Okay.
Very interesting chap to talk to.
Lovely. Yeah, we'll chat to him. Maybe we can chat to him sometime as well. John De Beer, great chat. Thank you, John. Lekker. And he says best of luck there as well. And then
Thanks, John.
Morgan, Dad. I didn't know you knew Patrick Swayze.
I did tell her I met Patrick Swayze.
What the hell is that now? That looks like it's harking back to my Catholic thing. What is that?
Now that is actually something my youngest daughter did in one of her art classes.
It looks almost very religious, That
she likes these sort of semi abstract type things, but she's an amazing budding artist. She's
is that Morgan?
That's Kaylee.
Kaylee,
my youngest daughter.
Okay, oh, wow.
Morgan's the one chirping at the moment.
Yes, I see that. She's the chirpster. Mark Banks, how does one become a Pedsac chairman? Asking for a fence for him.
I think Mark should give some serious consideration to whether he wants to do that. It's quite onerous for no pay.
He says he had Pedsac as a child. You must get the vaccination, Mark. There we go. Glenn Coast. Deal with stress. Yeah, right. Too many stories. To be honest, Trevor. Stop, drop, and roll. What's that?
Well, listen, I could tell some stories about Glenn. So Glenn is the service manager at Williams Hunt. And I think he's opened a can of worms here.
Stop, drop, and roll.
No, and I'll tell you, he's opened a can of worms here because we had the unfortunate situation many years ago. We were actually at a function, and we had a few apprentices working in the workshop.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if Glenn was aiming towards the story, but it's actually not funny, to tell you the truth. It's not funny at all, but it still is one of those things you'll never forget. So we had a few apprentices that thought they were really clever. And they were working after hours. We had quite a bit of work to do.
Yeah.
And, the guys hopefully were quite persistent in getting the job done.
Yes.
And these idiots decided that they are going to steal some petrol out of a customer's car.
Oh, my soul.
And there's a quick way of doing it, you see.
Yeah.
So you take the electric motor, the high pressure pump,
yes,
and you short circuit it and you pump
backwards
fuel into whatever you want to pump.
Yes.
These idiots were smoking while they were pumping fuel.
Oh, my soul.
This lot caught a light.
Oh, my word.
And as I say, it wasn't funny because this one, let's call it thief, because that's what it was.
Yeah.
Suffered serious burns all over his body.
Jeez,
and so stupid they were. They tried to throw water on it. Yeah, again, you opened the bloody door. Long story short, I mean, they tried to throw water onto a petrol fire. So
oh dear.
Yeah.
What annoys you most about your job?
I think it's the thing that's always annoyed me is starting from zero every month. So there's an old saying in our industry, and that is really, you're only as good as your last month.
Yeah.
Yes. So you can have a great month and then you're fine. The minute you have a crap month, you're
the worst.
But I mean, we all experience it in our industry, and it's damn awkward because you start off with a lot of expenses.
Yeah.
and you want to cover them and make a profit like any business. But starting from scratch is always a pain in the ass.
It's it's the same with our shows. You finish the show that you've been working months on, and it's like, when's your next one?
Yeah, no, I suppose it's like that for any
Yeah,
industry. But
for
it really can be soul destroying.
Yeah, for sure. Some of the highlights that you're most proud of.
Yeah, I think in our business, there's the best accolade to get is a dealer of the year type accolade.
Okay.
So that the manufacturer has a whole lot of parameters that you need to meet and exceed. And we were fortunate enough at Williams Hunt to have a couple of dealer of the years over the period that I was there. And thankfully, we've at BMW we got dealer of the year for last year.
Oh.
We
stepped into that one. Nicely.
No, it's
excellent.
It's probably sort of the best thing that could happen to you.
For sure.
The problem is, of course, that you set president.
Yeah, no. Now you need to get dealer
now you get it
every
again.
year.
And it's not that easy, I mean,
Can't start
to
like
vie
that.
for that, there are a lot of different hoops you need to jump through. And as I say, sometimes
You should have slowed your sales a little bit in the beginning. At least.
but it's not just sales; it's a whole lot of different parameters. But sometimes you get lucky,
Yeah.
it worked out. So it is it's a prestigious thing to get for a dealer,
For sure, and it's countrywide.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
And what do you win?
Yes. Oh, do you want? Yes. What do you win? Lots of cash.
So there's a cash element. There are all kinds of little odds and ends that you essentially win from it, and
Get the back massage,
yeah,
back head
Little
and shoulder.
personal assistant to go with it as well.
Oh man! And I see. If you had to do it all over again, so would you do it? Would you do it the same?
Definitely not.
Definitely not. What would you be doing?
Damn stressful.
I'm
No,
sure.
it's I actually can't tell you that I wouldn't do it again, but the stress factor is a big thing.
Yeah.
There's nobody in our industry who's been around for a while who doesn't understand that it is stressful.
Yeah.
I suppose every job is, but we are kind of a barometer of the economy. If we are down, the economy is in trouble. We don't really have resistance to that type of thing.
Particularly in PE, I think it was just motor town.
I think so as well. I mean, PE obviously doesn't have as much industry as some other cities and that do. But it's tough. So would I do it again? I suppose I'd have to give that a lot of thought because it's all I really know.
Yeah.
I thought of selling boats.
Yeah. That could also be, it depends.
But I suppose that's also going to have its own issues as well attached to it.
Would you take a different path and maybe get to the end? I mean,
I thought many years ago. I mean, now it's a case of trying to prepare for hopefully retirement.
Yeah.
But I thought many times that maybe I should have opened a used car business. A lot of successful used car operators
came from
they've come out of corporate and dealerships and so on. Yeah. So it was always a consideration.
Well, maybe it's still there,
No, we're long way off that.
Okay.
No, then you take a big risk because you need capital. I mean, I'm really going to take a flyer here. An estate agent who owns an estate agency. Yeah, they don't own the asset.
Yes.
We own the asset, and it's many, many millions of rand. Yeah. To have the type of assets you need on the floor to be able to sell. So it's complicated and it's extremely expensive. Yeah. In every step, in every sort of way you look at it. Yeah. So unless you have a massive backing financially, you've really got to start and take a chance.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess I just never took a chance.
So you might end up with something completely different. So, I mean, when I'm talking about this now, when you're retiring, or because nobody really retires these days. I don't think so. So I mean, if money was no object, what would you do? And it's like you had 1 million gajillion rands, and you said, You can do whatever you like.
In a retirement situation,
Well,
or prior to retirement, I suppose it doesn't really matter.
matter. And, it could be right
You
now.
know, I think that one of the things that I've always advocated is retirement should take place at the age of 30.
Oh.
Yeah, well, then you live your best life and you start working after 60.
Yeah.
I mean, surely that just works.
you start work after 60.
Yeah, because I mean, after 65 or whatever your standard retirement age is, things start slowing down. I mean, I can feel I'm not as bouncy as I used to be, So I'm going to stick with hell. I mean, if I had money at the age of 30, I could retire.
Just retire then.
Shit, I could travel, I could fish, I could.
No work whatsoever.
I could visit wine farms until I can't anymore. The list just goes on and on.
You would have done well in the French court with the Marie Antoinette and what's your biggest?
I think there's risk there.
Certainly your head could disappear.
Big risk.
Yeah. Your biggest irrational fear.
That's actually an easy one as well. It's failure. I just the fear of failure. It is irrational. It is completely irrational because I suppose thus far I haven't failed.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't stand the idea of failing at something. Yeah. And then that I suppose that wraps it up.
So it's like I mean, it doesn't matter what at your job, at your life.
Yeah, everything. So failure is a big factor for me. I just I can't imagine failing. I wouldn't want to, and it is always a fear that's in the back of your mind. I wonder if when I'm retired I'll stop feeling that way. I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think you ever stop worrying about stuff.
I think I probably am a little bit over the top with that.
But I don't think it's human nature.
Adversity is tough because the last thing I want to feel is I've failed in the face of adversity.
Yeah.
Because you're going to face adversity all the time, and it's how you deal with it.
Yeah.
So this is why I always maintain, and I'm probably digressing slightly, but I've always maintained that motivation must come from within. You cannot expect in a work environment. I mean, let's put it this way: we were put on earth to work, whether we like it or not. Yeah. You cannot expect somebody else to motivate you.
No.
And the problem I have these days, and I risk saying this, but the youth really don't see that.
Yeah.
And that's what worries me about young, hopefully up and coming people. They just cannot see that they have to be self-motivated.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, we always look at those things through our own eyes, because those kids will grow up and the majority of them will be successful. It has to be. So they will find a way. I think the youngsters are much more forgiving of the environment around them. So they get through these things. Whatever problem it is, they'll make a plan. It's about making a plan, getting a life hack.
Even financially, they seem to.
We tend to really be stuck in our ways a lot of the time. And I suppose that's just age.
I think that's got a lot to do with it. I suppose, also the way we were brought up.
It is
differently.
And there's always that respect thing, and there's a thing with these kids. There's like no rules. It's like, come on, and anything that you'd never ever do again.
I would never do again.
Yeah.
Well, this is going to sound horribly simplistic, but I would never go on a roller coaster again.
Do you go on a roller coaster? Where'd you go on a roller coaster?
Begrudgingly, I went to the Ratanga Junction. I think it's history now, and I understand why. I went on that Cobra. It was the worst experience of my entire life. A, heights are a problem, and B, I actually think I pulled 7 neck muscles trying to brace myself. No, that's just
it's G-forces are crazy on that thing.
And I don't mind being in a car and being ripped around in a car, but that was just totally
less dangerous than the car. Yeah,
probably, but it's not for me. Yeah, it's just not for me.
Gary's put a clue here for you. He says snakes. What's snake? Tell me about snakes. You don't like snakes?
No, I don't. And I probably the worst part is that a couple of years ago, I got a phone call from my folks.
Yeah.
In fact, there's more to it than even
Yeah.
that. So I just left the house many years ago.
Yeah.
I got a phone call from, I think, my mother at the time.
Yeah.
And she said to me, look, we've got a major problem. Your sister is parked in the backyard and she refuses to get out of the car because she saw a snake. So I thought, oh, really? Do I have to go through this? Anyway, so I went round to the house and sure enough, at the bottom of the garden, thankfully quite far away, was this massively big snake.
Really?
Unfortunately, they live right next to a bush valley type
Oh,
thing,
right. Okay. Yeah.
and have done so forever.
Yeah.
The long and the short is to get my sister out of that car and carry her on my back into the house.
When you were not so keen on
When
snakes,
I was not keen, but then it got a stage worse. So I had a phone call many years after that, and I was told, look, please, you need to come down and see what's going on here. There's apparently a huge snake that's now crossing the road into the house.
Oh, geez.
And prior to that, I don't know why, but one of the dogs had been bitten
Oh, shame.
by a puff adder, and it survived somehow.
Yo.
But it seems that area is very sort of puff adder
Yeah,
oriented. Anyway, so I drove down there. I thought, this is really not for me. The best snake is one that's far away from me.
Yes.
Anyway, I got there and, the place was lit up. There were cars stopped everywhere because there was this enormous puff adder crossing there. I promise you it was a
Jeez.
round.
Oh, my soul.
It was massive. Anyway, so eventually this snake crosses the road and it was slowly slithering along the side of the wall. And then there was a gate.
Ew.
And the next step, of course, goes under the gate, potentially bites the damn dog again.
Oh, geez. Like,
What do you do?
yo,
Okay,
what
so
can you do?
So
Call Mark Marshall quickly.
well, that was before the days of Mark Marshall.
Yes, yes.
In actual fact, I'm sure you would have been able to do something, but this snake was honestly the biggest, fattest thing I've ever seen. So they're well nourished from the bush, no question.
Yes, yes. All right. Eaten a couple of
So
things.
eventually it was a case of, well, look, phone the cops. I don't know what else to do.
Cops.
Anyway, phoned them and they came. I mean, those are the days when they still responded,
Yeah.
believe it or not.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Yes.
so they arrive and they say, this is a problem. So they had an R4 in the back of the van,
Jeez.
which I thought is fantastic.
Holy crap.
And these were the days before I actually had firearms myself.
Yes.
Not that it's in any way the right.
Yes.
So I said to the guy, look, this is what could happen potentially. It's heading towards there. It could bite the dog dies, and whatever other damage, because it really, it's going to do its own thing.
Yes.
And it's, as I said, it's crawling along the side of the wall.
Okay.
And I said to the guy, look, do me a favor, please shoot it.
Yeah.
The guy says, hello, he will, but, they can't fire a firearm in a
public
built-up area.
Yeah.
The guy said, I understand that. Now he's going to radio in and see if he can get permission from the commander on duty.
Okay.
The guy said, absolutely, I know, under no circumstances will you do that.
Oh, dear.
So I obviously was quite persuasive, and I said to the
Yes.
guy, look, you don't understand. You need to shoot the snake. The guy said, okay, look, I see your problem. I will get into trouble.
Yeah.
In fact, his words were big shit.
Okay.
And he shot the snake.
Okay.
Long story short.
All right.
Of course, his police radio went mad, and he was in so
Yes.
much cock it wasn't true.
gee, was-
And he shot a massive hole in the snake.
Yeah.
It didn't stop moving.
Oh, he shot it in the wrong place.
No, it wasn't that. It's just it was literally a hole in the dam, but it carried on going. I mean, it's just like a cockroach. It didn't stop,
It's like,
So eventually,
Sure.
look, it was a bit
Oh,
slower.
word.
It wasn't as fast, It was
Yes.
a bit slower. And I mean, puff adders are in no hurry, except when they strike.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the end of the story, other than the fact that I eventually got a spade and I chopped his head off, which is the very last time I intend going near a snake. I
That was
carried,
always the standard in the old days.
yeah, look, but I carried it eventually after doing that, and I really was not comfortable. In fact, I was highly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Eventually, I carried it into the bush, and I honestly can tell you, it was so heavy I battled to carry it.
Jeez.
I know it sounds crazy, but it was really. But that poor cop got into
So
enormous
much crap.
No, listen, they were swearing and screaming at
I'm
him over the
sure.
radio. I actually felt terribly sorry for him.
Oh dear.
But he might have saved a dog's life or a person's life. So, I mean, at least there was a human
Shame.
side.
These days we don't like to we get Mark Marshall and they come and fetch it.
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
But
is
these
it-
days we've got a Mark Marshall. So.
It says Gary's giving us clues here all the time. It says he almost sank a boat.
I don't know where Gary gets
Gary?
this info because this I didn't share with him. But I will say this: it was the last time I ever fished on Tues River,
Oh, was it?
and again there was a bloody snake involved.
a.
Oh, so we want to catch a bit of cob, and we're out there with the mate of mine who unfortunately has passed away.
Yes.
I seem to have had that a lot. In the
Yes.
last 3 good friends,
Oh,
strangely enough.
She was-
Anyway, so we out on the river fishing at night and look down and there's the snake sort of, and I thought, well, this is not a comfortable
in the water.
situation. Yeah.
Yo.
And I mean, there are a lot of farmlands and things around there.
Yeah.
And long story short, this happened after what was almost a sinking of my boat because we put the boat in the water and for some unknown reason, I forgot to put the plug
The
in.
plugs.
And as I was warming the motor and waiting for him to, take the trail up, and I looked back and I just saw water. And I thought, yeah, shit.
Sinking.
And I mean, the best thing to do is you just open the motor and you drain the water off while you're on the plane.
Yes.
Anyway, I ended up on the rocks, had to pull the boat up. So it was a bit of a disaster because prior to that, I had a wheel bearing problem on the way out there as well.
Oh,
So it was probably one of my worst little
yes.
trips I've had.
And a snake in the water.
But then the snake is swimming around, and anyway, I thought let me just make peace with the situation. And while we're sitting there having a quiet beer, over the back of the transom, I see this snake head coming up.
Jeez, like
And I thought, this is just not working for me.
you're out of
There's
there.
no way in hell I'm sleeping with the snake on the boat because we obviously had a cabin. We were going to sleep over for the night. And I took my prawn pump and I hit this thing as hard as I could. But at that stage, I'd had enough.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what time of night it was,
Going home.
but I buggered off, put the thing on the trailer, got home, got into bed. The next day, the snake was actually hanging off the speedometer cable. And somebody recognized it as a worm slung at the time.
Ay.
So, needless to say, I'm not a big fan of snakes.
No, I'm
But
sure.
let's move on, shall we?
I stay about 300 meters from you, says Mornay. And you know how many cobras we found on the lawn or in the street?
Look, I haven't had the unfortunate situation where I've had to go near a cobra, but honestly,
my soul.
I know it's a bit sort of anti-animalistic.
Yeah,
but
no, you've got
snakes
to
are
be
for me.
better with the snakes. To go and phone Mark. I'll give you his number. You just phone him. And
No, listen.
comes and fetches.
These days there are ways out.
Yeah.
Apart from running, there are ways out.
Yeah. Now, apart from Patrick Swayze, I believe you also know Minky van der Westhuizen.
Well, I'm sure she doesn't know me.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
As we do.
No, why would she? No, so we had I don't know where Gary's digging this stuff out,
Yeah.
but we had an interesting thing. This is in the Saab days. You were talking about Saab earlier.
Yes.
So one of the things with Saab is to obviously try and go the prestigious route and get involved. And at the time, I think Michelle Brown brought Minky van der Westhuizen through to PE.
Yes.
And the and she was obviously the celebrity that was going to be talking to a whole lot of ladies. I think it was at the beach hotel back then. And the whole thing was she must be fetched in a prestigious car.
Yes.
So I went to go fetch her
Saab.
in the Saab. And it was just interesting, apart from the fact that she was she is really, really nice.
Yes.
And one can't look past that.
Yes.
At all.
Yeah.
At all, Anyway, so we in the car and she gets a phone call. I mean, we're obviously chatting and she's really nice.
Yes.
In fact, I really thought she was nice. So she gets a phone call and it's her mother, and I can hear now obviously Afrikaans. She says along the lines of, "Ma, moenie worry nie, ek lyk verskriklik mooi vandag." And she's trying.
And she did.
And there's no question. And she's trying to tell her mother that she looks fine, and her mother keeps asking her, "Do you look okay?" And I thought, good grief, woman.
Yeah.
What are you pestering this woman for, you know? So I'm driving, and we basically, I got to the beach hotel, and she's still trying to tell her mother she looks okay, you know? I felt like grabbing the phone and telling her, listen, lady, what the hell?
Mothers are like that. You know.
No, but look, she's a beautiful lady, honestly.
And
Way out of my league, just saying. Yeah.
I see this. Harvey says there. Tell us about the time you unexpectedly. You expected a standby guy to jumpstart your boat on the river.
So I'm not sure.
A standby guy. Was that you, Harvey?
No, it must. Harvey obviously felt that he was a standby guy. I don't remember the whole jumpstart thing, but I do remember something, and this is probably not quite what Harvey had in mind. So I had my boat serviced.
Yeah. Okay.
A while ago, and I mean, there's probably Harvey's quite right about. But I mean, Harvey was just understand. He was supposed to be there to help.
Yeah, no. no battery.
Yeah, I don't remember the story. I actually can't remember, but I do remember one occasion where I had my boat serviced.
Yeah,
and went out for the evening, and was obviously quite excited to go fishing because I mean, one hard week of work, and you go fishing, and so on the boat, and the guy that was with me hops on, and you accelerate, and as one does, one turns the steering wheel because one wants to go to the middle, and as I turn it to the right, the boat swings to the left. And I thought, no, wait, there's something horribly wrong. The idiot that serviced my boat somehow put the steering spline on incorrectly.
Oh my word!
So the whole evening, when you wanted to go left, you had to turn right. Now
you got to turn around and do it like this.
Yeah, well, you put yourself in a situation at night. Okay.
My soul.
Where you're trying to steer and hitting it. I'm sure that's not what Harvey was referring to, but needless to say, I despised the guy that I went to service with.
I'm sure. I think Dad should mention who his favorite famous DJ is.
No, I know where my daughter's coming from.
Who is that now? The DJ.
Well, yeah.
My son's a DJ as well. Yeah, yes, he's doing nicely, yes.
Okay, I don't think he's a David Guetta though.
Oh, David Guetta. Yeah. Oh no, David Guetta's. Isn't he a drug-fueled DJ as well?
No, I can't comment on that. But listen, his music is good. No, I enjoy.
So you're a bit of a fan.
I enjoy him. Yeah.
Is it?
But I like all kinds of music.
Okay.
But David Guetta, the more modern stuff.
What was the first album that you ever bought with your own money?
So there's a double answer to that because back in the day, I really enjoyed music a lot, and we used to go to the record bars and record on tapes.
Michael's record bar.
Correct, on Parliament Street.
Yes.
So we used to record a lot of music. I mean,
or Grey Street.
Yeah.
Sorry,
you're right.
Grey Street. Yes.
So I thought it was Parliament Street.
Parliament Street was Bluesways.
Correct. Okay, so I wasn't entirely wrong.
Yes.
So yeah, we used to record a lot of music. I mean, I had a plethora of tapes and things like that. And it looks like I'm about to get something to drink.
Drinks.
Gary's been quite useful that way
He's
tonight.
been very good.
I trained him well.
Yeah.
But the first one I actually bought was probably a CD.
Okay.
When CDs first came out, my father went over to America. I think it was America. He used to travel a lot when he was working, and I got a Sony CD player. I think the first one was Fleetwood Mac.
Rumors.
Was an album before. It was well before Rumors. Rumors was sort of the latter end, I think. If I remember correctly.
Yeah. No, Rumors was quite early.
It was very early.
Yeah. It was the biggest one, I think. With
you're right. I think this was Greatest Hits.
Greatest Hits one.
But there were a number of Greatest Hits after.
Yeah.
So I think to answer your question, Gary's really become very useful.
Yeah.
So I think that was it. But I really enjoyed music back from a young age. I had a lot of different.
Gary says Billy Idol.
Yeah,
I like the 80s stuff. I love Billy Idol.
Billy Idol was
a winner.
One of my all-time favorites.
So when that album that came out, that whole.
Well, there was Vital Idol.
And Whiplash Smile, but Vital Idol was the big one.
No, Vital Idol was one of my favorites.
Stranger. Great.
In fact, let me pose a question to you guys. I mean, when are we going to have a Billy Idol evening? Because I
Yes.
know I could support that.
I do some Billy Idol. That's one thing I can sing.
Because I remember whining at Gary a while ago. I think it's time that we did some Billy
I
Idol
do all
stuff,
that. Forgot to be a lover. Morgan says, don't forget about Johnny Cash.
yeah.
And Mr.
Which-
Johnny Cash.
Which, in fact, Morgan must go to bed. What the hell, man? No, look, I enjoy Johnny Cash tremendously as well. But it's totally different.
Yeah,
I mean,
of course.
it's like the Dead South.
An eclectic taste seems like from the Johnny Cash to Depeche Mode.
A little bit of everything. You know? So the Dead South.
Oh yeah, I know Dead South. Yeah.
Absolutely love it. I mean, I was trying to think where I was, where they were playing the Dead South, and I was talking to somebody, and they also said it was absolutely amazing. It's not often you come across somebody who enjoys that kind of thing.
It's like that Mumford kind of feel, you know. Dead South.
No, I'm not sure about that.
It's not that Dead South, the country kind of thing.
It is similar, but it's got a little bit of something else to it.
Yeah.
If I can put
Put
it
an
that
edge.
way. Yeah.
So the Billy Idol's got that edge to it. It's got it's got the but
No, Billy Idol, I don't know why, but that always tickled my fancy.
it's great.
Definitely.
And Depeche Mode, I like that too.
Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, that can be very electronic, but they've got also got that edge to it. As well.
Look, I mean, you can also overplay this stuff because, I mean, let's face it, it's from our youth.
Yes.
And today we still sort
It's
of
all
listen
about
to it from time to
nostalgia
time.
as well when we listen to stuff.
Yes,
as
nostalgia. Yeah, that word.
well. What place do you consider your happy place?
I think without a doubt, my garage. You know,
Garage.
garage.
What are you doing there? You make your knives.
Yeah. So I mean, the thing about a garage is it's a place for cars, but it needs to be a place for a workshop too.
Yeah.
And my workshop is so full and so busy. It's difficult to get around there.
Did you? I mean, did you get into like do woodwork and stuff as well?
Yeah.
Make a couple of things.
No, I've just finished a table. So what I like to do with this type of thing, I think I mentioned it earlier, is I try to make things out of things that don't cost money.
Yeah.
So for argument's sake, my brother-in-law repaved his whole outside area where he had a wooden deck.
Okay. Yeah.
So old deck planks.
Yeah.
I took a whole bunch of these old deck planks,
Yes.
put them together, bonded them, did all the necessary, and I made a table out of it.
Lekker.
And I'm busy now. Actually, in actual fact, Gary would appreciate this.
Yeah.
I'm making this table and chairs for our upcoming wine tasting, so that I can house the entire wine tasting.
Lovely.
You know?
Excellent. I love that. I've just bought myself a bandsaw. Gary looked at me with big eyes because I've just bought a bandsaw and a table saw. And I got a big drill press. So I managed to get them from my boot, and I've got them now. I've stuck them in my garage. So now it's time to use them.
But you have a plan, presumably, yeah?
A plan?
A plan. You've got a plan to use it.
Just they were there, and so my brother was selling them, and I quickly zipped them up. So I thought maybe I'll give it a go. You know?
Yeah, but you should. No, you should. No, but
you never know what you need to cut. You know?
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, I like the idea of making something that doesn't cost a fortune.
That's it.
And making something out of literally old planks, you know, and you can spruce them up because they're hardwood.
Well, I'm glad to hear this because I think I might try my hand at some of that. Glenn Coe says the Wicked Witch is dead. The bomb. What is that? Is that a story you can tell?
He's a really cryptic bugger. He's a cryptic bugger. He could be referring to anything.
Unlike the Donny.
Listen. So I don't know why Glenn is sort of taunting me like this, but that story is an interesting one because it actually goes beyond the dog on the jetty. So I take the guys at Williams Hunter Management Team. I take them away for a weekend at St. Francis. So the chairman of our group back then, who's subsequently retired, no longer has the house, had a beautiful place in St. Francis. And so a couple of us have got boats. And we do, the usual little river cruises and what have you. Oh, no, we had a magnificent time. In fact, I must tell you another story. It's very interesting. Probably more interesting than this one. I think Gary's forcing the issue. So Glenn is in his boat, and Glenn is a whiz with mechanical things and what have you. He's built racing cars for what was then Delta Motorsport at the
Okay,
time.
yes.
And I don't want to blow too much smoke up Glenn's ass, but
Yes.
the point of the matter is he was a bit of a bastard too.
Oh, right.
In
yes.
fact, he'd be very wary of me telling another story, a similar thing, but we won't go there for now. So we're cruising slowly through the canals, as you do, because it's no wake speed, as
Yes.
you know. Cruising slowly through the canals. And we get to a jetty just in front of us, and there's this little dog barking, but dawned on this jetty. Okay?
Right.
So Glenn sidles up
Yeah.
slowly, and I'm just ahead of him, and he sidles up slowly to my right,
Yeah.
and he lifts his engine like this, and he hits the throttle, and there's this huge spray, and this dog is barking, and all of a sudden you just see this wet rat standing.
Oh, shame.
and Glenn got huge satisfaction. I must admit, so did I. But it didn't end there, unfortunately. So we that evening we went through to the Greek restaurant.
Yes,
thing.
yes, big time.
Big time.
That's Melina. and Perry.
Back when Perry was around.
Yeah,
still.
yeah.
Missed that guy. Actually,
Yes.
really a good guy.
Legend guy.
Good customer as well.
Oh, man.
Anyway, parking there. We
Yes,
have
he's got that big black
Black
thing,
Isuzu.
Isuzu. Yeah, that's what.
So we park in there. We split the load. Glenn had one bunch of cars. I had another bunch of cars, and I was pulling out, and Glenn was already halfway out. And obviously, Glenn wasn't thinking straight
Yeah.
at all,
Yes.
and decided that he's going to top up the motor and pump that prop. And as we're sitting there in the middle of the night, there's this wave of water that comes over us.
Oh, dear.
It burnt my radio out on my boat
Oh, no.
to the point where Glenn had to
Replace it.
buy a new radio for me.
Jeez. Like,
But in all honesty, Glenn has always helped me with boats and things like that. He's a really, really good guy, except for that evening, because I was pretty pissed off with him.
you got to, your friends, you got to forgive them.
Yeah, no, this is true. But geez, he drenched us, the boat, my electronics. I was hacked off with him. And I certainly haven't forgotten that. And he actually brought this discussion on. So not only
your
a
own
wet
fault.
dog, yeah.
Your own fault, Glenn. And there's Elmery says, remember health and safety. Yes. You live by any piece of advice or motto? What's your motto?
Look, I suppose, as I said to you earlier, I believe motivation must come from within. But the thing I believe sincerely is that the enemy of success is procrastination.
You're
So-
putting it off.
So I just believe
It's
that
fine, I'll
you
do it tomorrow.
cannot to be successful. It's just my opinion. If you procrastinate and don't get things done,
Yeah.
it's a problem. We had an MD many years ago who I've got a lot of respect for. He taught us a lot of things. One of the things he taught us is that he actually stood up in a national conference one day and he said, "Guys, I just want to tell you, business is tough, and I understand that. And you know what? You deserve sympathy in many occasions. But I just want to tell you where to find sympathy, okay? It's between shit and syphilis in the dictionary." And I've never forgotten that. So the thing is this, he also taught us that, and as simplistic as it sounds, don't put off what you can do right now, even if it takes you a bit longer to get done in the day.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've tried to live by that.
Yeah, I think yes, it's sometimes difficult for people to get up off your butt and just do things. But the people that are doing stuff all the time, that's when the success comes, I suppose.
Well, that's exactly it. It's the old story. The more mud you throw at the hut, eventually it'll stick.
Yeah, it's like my wife she's never procrastinated. She must do it now. I'm a bit of like, oh, let's have a look. We just look at it again.
See, I think your wife and I would get along very well.
Yeah.
So I just see the Graham Smith. I mean, it was actually his boat I was talking about where I caught
Yes.
that biggest fish.
Oh,
My
great.
biggest fish. And it was, as he correctly says,
Yes. On a
on
small river
a
rod.
small river rod.
Jeez, like Graham, unbelievable, man.
Mm.
What's the luckiest thing that ever happened to you?
Look, I'm a firm believer in you making your own luck. You know, it's a bit cliche, Gary
Yeah.
Player. The
Yeah.
harder you practice, the luckier you get. And
Yes,
so on. So
yes.
I do believe that. But strangely enough, I've been pretty lucky on the fishing front. The one competition that I was involved in, one of the guys, and with the competition, if there's a major prize to win, it's always shared.
Yeah.
Between the crew on the boat.
Okay.
And the one competition we were in, one of the crew members caught a reasonable sized fish.
Yeah.
And it happened to be a winner, and we won a boat.
Wow.
And a motor complete, and put it on the showroom floor, sold it in a couple of days, split the money and happiness.
It wasn't the tuna classic that
it wasn't a classic, no. It was
Okay.
it was actually a bottom species competition.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, sponsored by people who sponsor you.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't think they sponsor anymore, but yeah.
ECM. Okay.
ECM, yeah.
Yes,
So
okay,
it was a good comp, and I was
Yeah.
very happy to win it.
Okay. Yes. Fantastic.
Yeah, and then I also got lucky in the last Tuna Classic. We, as I said to you, there was no actual prize won for the biggest fish because there just weren't any.
Okay.
But there was a lucky draw, and our team was lucky enough to win 50,000 rand. So yeah, I suppose that's about
the
as.
hell?
I'm not a very lucky person, but in that respect, I've been quite lucky.
I think Gary believes in luck almost solely. In it's the center. It's the center of Gary's business plan. Pure luck. What's something particularly spontaneous or irresponsible that you've done in your life? There must be a lot of shit that you've done.
Yeah, look, I must be honest. I've tried to be responsible in most respects, but every now and then one does do things that you look back on and think, "Shit, should I have done that?" And I can say this now because it's ancient history.
Yes.
But we had a customer evening once at Williams Hunt, and some of the guys, in fact, I think some of the guys watching here might well remember this particular occasion.
Yes.
So we had the Suzuki franchise at the time.
Yeah.
I drove a Suzuki Vitara, which is a 4x4.
Yes, I remember.
And we had a couple of 4x4 Isuzu Buckies, and we had a magnificent customer evening, and we had a good couple of drinks. And at the time, it was before the road ran through the bottom of William Moffat Expressway.
Wow, that's a long time ago. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm not the youngster. I'm not a youngster, you know.
Yeah.
So there was a very steep hill that a lot of the there's an Algoa 4x4 club and what have you. Very steep hill that the guys used to
Fairview.
go up. Yeah, literally to get to the top of what was the dip.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
That of course is no longer in existence,
Yeah.
but that was before the road, and everybody decided, hell no, we need to see what these cars can do. The thing is, it was raining. Okay. Now, you picture this. I mean, you've got a near vertical that requires low range, 4-wheel drive, all the rest of it. It's soaking wet.
Yeah.
The guys have had a few drinks.
Yes.
Dare I say.
Very,
I'm actually thinking carefully as to whether I should tell this story. But
very irresponsible. Yes.
No, it was. But you know, the customers were into it, and it was all exciting and what have you. And anyway, so we jump in the vehicle, and of course, I decided I was going to take a few guys up, and I got halfway up the hill. And the problem with in those days was that ABS braking was not as advanced as it is now. So in slippery conditions, the ABS braking would actually be very tricky.
Yeah.
And it was much better to have a manual braking system.
Okay.
Because it's nowhere near as advanced as it is now.
Yes.
So basically, those sensors used to read slipping wheel, let go, slipping wheel. These days, it's way more advanced. You've got completely different parameters under which ABS works. So we're up there, lose traction, and we're on the way down.
Tick, 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 tick.
And as you push in the brake, it's releasing.
Yeah.
And as a result, you're coming down a lot faster than you should.
Aye, aye, aye.
As I'm coming
Backwards.
down backwards
Aye, aye, aye.
with a bunch of customers in the car, there's this crunch at the bottom.
Oh, no.
And I hit a more of a bloody rock.
Oh, no.
Basically, I wrapped the Suzuki around a rock.
Jeez, like the Vitara.
But it didn't end there, okay?
Oh,
because
my
then
soul.
everybody had to prove a point, okay? We
Yeah.
can get up there, and we
Yes.
will get up there. So it was actually it was one of those 2 a.m. we're gonna do this thing, you know.
I know, yes. I
But
know.
yeah, it was a bit
Irresponsible,
of
yes.
damage. It was irresponsible.
But you
That's the best I could do for now. you see.
Yeah, I get you. Okay, we've got 3 last questions for you now. I think to finish it off for the evening, because we're heading for a world record length show. Yeah.
Well, what? How long have we been doing this
We've
for?
been at 9 o'clock already.
Bloody hell!
No, that's good. It's good.
I think it's because Gary's been feeding me.
Of course he is. Of course. How was your perspective on? How has your perspective changed on the world? Sort of as you get older, you know.
Yeah, look, it's. I think I sort of mentioned this earlier.
Yeah.
As age creeps up, you kind of look back and you think, how could I have done things differently? I think we've mentioned that.
Yeah.
I think it's really a case of trying to hold back on the age thing, and then at the same time making sure that one stays fairly fit.
Just keep a plateau. That's all you like to do, eh?
So from a perspective point of view, you know, one also sort of realizes that, you know, you hear so much about making sure that there are contingency plans in place, and so yeah, it's tough to put a sort of a finger on it per se.
Yeah.
But it's a case of really making sure that things go forward.
Yeah.
Like I said, I still think we should retire at 30.
Yeah. But also, I think this, like you say, the irrational fear of failure. You can't think about that too much. You've got to, like, life is about what you're doing, how you're living it now, you know. I think
That is true. That is true. But,
Yeah.
you know, also it's a case of how do you jam everything in? Because
I don't know.
at some point you're not going to be able to.
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
also find myself trying to do too much at once, I suppose.
Yeah.
And, you know, you want to get together and you want to see all these friends and those
Yeah.
friends, but to find the time, you know.
It's
So
a
I think
relationship, isn't it?
to answer your question
Yeah.
in a nutshell, to find the time to do
Yeah.
everything you want to has
Yeah.
become more difficult, because there's no doubt as you get older, time goes by a shitload
Yeah,
faster.
it does. It does.
I honestly believe that 20 years ago, time was a lot slower.
Yeah.
Um,
It also ties into your procrastination thing, because if you're putting off, even with your own relationships, you're putting off things as well, you know. And as you get older, you realize this. Hey, you by not seeing these people now, you think, it would be nice to hang out with this person.
well,
do
that's
that.
exactly it, you know. And,
You know?
and just as I said to you earlier, I mean, this last year has been one of the toughest from a friendship point of view I've ever been through. I mean, I've lost.
Gary is kind of hard to get along with sometimes.
Well, never am I going to argue that
Yeah,
point.
no.
But you
No,
know,
no,
I
what you're saying, you
I lost 3 very, very close friends, and I believe sincerely, you're not having a million friends, but close friends are important.
Yes.
And losing 3 friends in one foul
that
swoop, it's difficult, you know.
Yeah.
So you kind of reflect,
Yeah.
and introspectively sort of think about things a bit more than you would.
Yes.
But I think this is the whole age thing, so younger people wouldn't understand.
No, it's true. It's so true, though. And those relationships are so important in your own life. It's all about the journey going forward. So you've got to feed your life as you go. Like now, you know, it's like now. There's no better time.
Yeah, but that's exactly it.
What advice would you give your younger self if you could go back in time?
Unquestionably, finding ways of dealing with stress better, stressing less.
Yeah. Okay.
Unquestionably.
Yeah, in your industry, I think it's quite hectic. I don't know. I don't feel in my own situation, like with doing shows and things, I always say it's high stress, high reward. In your situation in the corporate world, it's a different kind of stress.
And it is. And I mean, if you take what you do to heart, I think that's the crux of it. If you take what you do to heart, you will find the situations become difficult from a stressful point of view.
Yeah.
And it's hard to deal with that. That's really what it comes out to.
So you try and find better ways of dealing with stress.
Exactly. And unfortunately, age and experience aids that process.
Yes, it does. It does. Yes, it does. Agree. 3 weddings and a funeral become 3 funerals and no weddings. You're right, Elmarie. And I hope your husband's doing well. Please tell us how Garth is doing, because he also had he attacked, or a carport attacked him the other day. Hell of a time of it. So he's really flipping face rearranged. We hope it's getting better. Our weather guru is telling us through a straw how the weather is, I think, at the moment. How do you define the success and fulfillment in your life? How would you say? It's a deep question. The last question tonight.
Question that, I mean, success and fulfillment. I guess it comes down to self-actualization, I suppose, when you're really at that point. I suppose when you're young, you don't really look at the whole self-actualization side. This is very deep for this time.
Yes, I know. It is,
so all you can really do is look back and say, did I make a difference? Did I make a positive difference? Did I add value to what a business perceived? Did I add value in my personal life? And I do believe friends are very important, in one's life. I think, as I said earlier, maybe many friends are not the answer, but close friends are important.
I mean, friends and family in the end, because it's those people close to you. You're right.
No, that's exactly how I would see it. So I think success is definitely in the eye of the beholder. I mean, what you see as success and what I do are 2 different things. I do think, though, that one has to be pragmatic. And a lot of success has to do with, can I live after I've retired?
Well, that's what I said. I don't know if I'm
Which is the $1 million, let's be honest.
We're ever going to be able to retire. And obviously now BMW going forward as well. You're keen. You've been there for a year and
a year and a couple of months.
So it's nice and free. It's fresh still.
It is fresh. I think the issue is it's still the motor industry.
Yes.
And the most important thing is believing in what you do. Believing in the people, believing in the customers,
the staff,
the product, good guys, solid people. And that's the thing, finding the right people. Because it's the old story. You're only as good as your people. So,
it says do what you love, otherwise it's a burden. You're right. And
true. And Glenn lives that one out. He really does. So I have a lot of respect for Glenn.
What is Glenn doing?
He's a service manager at Williams.
Oh yes, of course.
Hopefully he has the same amount of respect.
You did engineering.
But clearly we've kept him busy tonight.
We have.
Glenn's the guy that needs to get us the winder.
Oh, the window winder for no, but he can't fix it. Oh, is that our Suzu? We need a window winder for just the handle.
I think Glenn's going to be under pressure after this lot. And no free services, Glenn.
That's it. Morgan says, obviously get my stress issues from you, from her dad. Oh my word, yes.
Well, look, there's some things I can't change.
We go. Well, maybe your dad's got some talking to do to you as well. Try and get rid of the stress stories. And there we go. Garth says he's still capable of drinking whiskey. Really? Okay, thank you, Leanne. He's still capable of best boss ever, she says there, Leanne says.
Well, listen, Leanne will always be the best lady I've ever come across in my life.
Oh, man.
She is an amazing person. And we've come a long way
It's a
together
long way.
in on the business front, and certainly I appreciate her friendship as well.
Excellent. I see, and our Garth says he's still great. Obviously, he can still drink whiskey through a straw. Been a lovely show. Thank you, Elmarie, and Glenn says never. Thank you, and guys, thank you for joining us on the show. It's been fantastic, Trevor. It's been an absolute pleasure
thanks, man.
getting to know you a bit and some of the stories.
It was awesome
Fantastic.
being here.
I
Thank you
knew
so
there were
much.
always going to be a lot of stories. I think we've got a world.
No, but I'm
champion.
on a roll now.
Yeah. No, they were going to give a case of kitchen leads to one of the people online. So we're going to stick you all in the barrel, and we're going to pull the plug. And let's see who's going to win the kitchen leads tonight. We've got a whole bunch of people on here today. Reza! Hey, funny that Reza is the guy that gave me my first sponsorship. It was for Alfa Romeo at the time with Eastcape Motors.
Oh wow!
Eastcape Motors got, and he phoned me up. He said, I need an Italian advert for my Italian car. And I said, I'm Italian. Why are you not sponsoring me? The Italians. He said, okay, we got a deal, and we were in.
Okay, awesome.
So that started out. Lisa, so thank you to you as well. Glenn Gous says, cheers, guys. Have a good one. Thank you, man. We'll see you. And so we'll send that Fitch and Leeds to you. Thank you.
Speech,
There we go. Great speech. Thank you to Fitch and Leeds. Thank you to Amobia for our internet. And we'll see you next week when we have got Amakala. The Amakala guys are coming in next week. So we'll see you then as well. James Smith, hello. Thank you, man. And Morgan, he doesn't like pigeons either. It's another one. Pigeons.
Morgan must go to bed.
Well, you must go and say hello to Shane Gerby. He's got a whole bunch of pigeons. Thank you, Vanessa. Tell him. Oh, look. So thank you so much. It's been fantastic having you on the show.
Thank you so much.
Marvelous.
Very lekker.
See you next
I
week,
enjoyed the
guys.
chat.
Relax it down. Coming out of PE town. Drink, find a shot. Never mind your liver. Get to Gino's spot.
Gino spot.
Get to Gino's